Hello and welcome on in. Hope you're enjoying your late night. It's late at SMITE. Malum, D'Lo, and Kingfisher bringing you all the SMITE esports goodness. And what better way to kick off esports goodness than SMITE 2 esports news is here. But first, guys, how are we feeling tonight?
Feeling good, man. I mean, it's been a hell of a day. You were with me for part of it, bruv. It's been busy as all heck. So, yeah. So it's nice to get a bit of relaxation, a bit of fun here today. And it's also good to get some finally really great news that it seems like the public's really reacting quite unanimously positively towards for some good old Smite 2 esports. So happy about that, too.
Yeah, I'm good too. Fun stuff.
Energy's high. Vibes are high.
You know, man. Energy's here. We're good. We're ready.
Yeah, Fisher had a cast today too. Speaking of which, because SMITE esports includes the amateur scene. Fisher, who won the Masters finals? What was the team?
True.
Triage.
Who's on the roster?
Ooh, let me check real quick. They had 2 subs today, so I don't think it's the main roster, but Snatty was on it. Everyone should know from SCC and stuff. Yeah, insane game. He played his mind out. And it was a level 100 Behemoth, Bankable Monster, Tearing Dreams, and Rudy.
Oh, okay.
The team they beat was crazy. They beat Tegvir, Valo, and Happen, so like some big names.
They basically beat Shabala Storm. I'm #1 Shabala Storm fan, so I'm a little bit distraught.
Pretty much.
Kicked out at the semis. Dang, man. That's kind of nutty then.
No coming back for Rat Milk was no longer welcome in that team.
Unfortunate.
No goat milk.
Well, any crazy picks for the set, Fish?
Yeah.
They had a King Arthur support that just irritated me. So
were they on match point at least or something like that?
They were on the other side of match point, yeah. They were the team that was down. And they locked in King Arthur support, Hercules jungle, and Shiva solo that had just been destroyed twice already. So not my favorite team comp, but it was a good game. Like, it was a competitive set. So good stuff.
Well, shout out to Triage. Congratulations. Masters champions for AGL. Lots of other amateur esports, so make sure you join those. But on the topic of esports, the big topic, as D'Lo alluded to, the SMITE 2 esports news is out and is public. Oh, it was Mr. Sneaky 4 is level 100 Behemoth. So another familiar name.
Yes.
Of course.
SMITE 2 esports news is out. And as D'Lo mentioned, the public reception has been incredibly positive, which, again, I'm biased, but exactly what I expected. I'm not going to lie to you, but I'm very happy to see it. I was very much kind of expecting the reaction to be more positive, because a lot of the news is a lot of things that people have been hoping for, have been wanting, from double elim to a really good prize pool for what is essentially an alpha LAN when we get to Vegas. A lot of really good stuff with it. There's 2 videos out. There is a video on SMITE Pro that's a bit shorter, that it has Trelly. It's about 3.5 minutes or so. That kind of gives you through a rough generic idea. There's also a 16-minute sort of rough Q&A with Hindu Man, where he answers some kind of quick questions off the cuff from Twitch chat. They are planning a larger, longer Q&A pretty soon with Hindu. That will be a very involved Q&A where you can ask anything that your heart could possibly desire, so keep your eyes out for that. But they did put on smiteesports.com/news/Vegas overview. You can go and you can find the really nitty-gritty details of that stuff, and that's what we're going to talk about here at the start and kind of go through some of the more detailed-oriented portions of this, give our thoughts, and include chat a little bit. But guys, initial reactions when you saw the news, because I've been sitting on it a while, so my take's not as interesting as you guys.
Well, maybe we should, Anthony, for those who either missed the stream or didn't get the Spark Notes, we should just give a quick overview of what we've learned so far. So as far as what we learned Swiss bracket's going to be coming here. You can really put together your own teams. You can see on this here. We've got open bracket, which means you just grab 4 other players and go, which is what I really have loved. If you look at your Twitter feeds, everyone, you'll just be seeing endless posts saying, hey, young, hot, 21-year-old guy looking for a team. Like, that's kind of like what it is.
What a way to phrase it.
Support 6'2". Like, that's like kind of like what's like going on here. It's like Grinder, but for teams. It's actually a lot of fun. It's really funny because like it's nice to see the community.
Holy shit!
Am I wrong? But like you get to see all these people like kind of rejuvenating their love for the game. And I know that I'm like bugging out right now.
A little bit,
just a little bit,
just a little
but
bit.
like it genuinely is a lot of fun to imagine these potential wacky, like wavy inflatable arm flailing comps where, you know, you've got Aztec posting, then I'm seeing Inbound posting, then I'm seeing Cosmic Vibe saying, hey, support for hire. I'm like, dude, there's so many wacky, crazy combinations that could happen out of this. Anything can really happen. And I've also loved the fact that you could choose your own team name. I'm looking for some good creativity in that book too.
I don't know how I can possibly follow up that with my take on it. But
obviously,
yeah,
you can go the Bumble angle.
I don't like bees, so I'm gonna go ahead and skip out on that one. But yeah,
Lucy Cobb says, "Fuck you." Sorry.
Hey.
Wow, Delo's on one today.
Dilo cursed at me? Okay, this is new ground.
Lucy Cobb cursed at you. He told me to say it, bro. You can't say I don't like bees when we got a god of bees in the game.
The god of bees isn't in the voice call with us. Oh, why do you narc?
Yeah, you're right. I snitched.
So what's your reaction, Fisher?
I mean, ignoring what all Dila just said, I like it, right? I think it's exciting. I like that it's open bracket, you know, like it being a new game. There's been a ton of time in the offseason. There have been a ton of people like missing esports, like both playing and watching it. I like that they didn't like try to take like old SPL teams or like just get a bunch of pros, tell them to make a team and let's go have a tournament in Vegas. I like that it's open. I like the community gets a chance to participate and stuff. I mean, I really hope like we kind of see some of those old names. I think it'd be exciting after a year, like seeing some of the names we're used to, but just a chance that there are some community members that could like get up into the thing, go to Vegas, like be cheered on in front of all the fans, like whenever they do streams and stuff. I think it's definitely a smart move.
A long tournament as well. The entirety of the qualifiers goes from September 14th, which is the opening day, until the weekend of December 12th through December 15th, which is the in-studio LAN in Georgia. And there's a lot to it. And there's a lot of parts that I'm huge on. I'm also huge in the open bracket. They said it from the beginning. They wanted to go back to grassroots. Grassroots esports works everywhere that it is for the most part. I mean, 90% of grassroots esports are still existing, if not flourishing. Rocket League has survived because of its grassroots structure. Call of Duty, the way that their challenger scene has always worked, has benefited from grassroots. And if you go back to the initial standing points of the CDL, you can go back to MLG, which existed because of grassroots. So this is a really good route to take. Yeah. I also like the fact there is 2 open brackets. So we're going to go into super detail in a bit, but if you, just for the one we're looking at right now, which is the rough overview of everything. Stage 1 is an open bracket. You can grab your pals and you can sign up with a team and compete in the open bracket. And if you do not win, that's okay. You've got 5 more weeks of play to try and make it through in another open bracket in Stage 2B, where if you do win, you go up to Stage 2A, which consists of a Swiss bracket. Now, in that bottom bracket I mentioned, Stage 2B, if you lost out, you can go there, but if you make your team late, if you say, you know what, it's $30 to get into Smite 2, I haven't seen gameplay, I haven't watched the Alpha Weekend tournaments yet, I kind of want to hang out a little bit, see what's going on. Okay. You can wait and you can make your team after the fact, after you see that initial 2-week open bracket in Stage 1, and you can enter late in Stage 2B. You won't have the benefit of the point system, which, again, we'll touch on here in a bit, but you can still make your team. Now, everybody moves forward to Stage 3, which is your last chance qualifiers from the losers, the bottom 8 of the Swiss bracket, and the top 8 of the open bracket in Stage 2B. They compete, and the top 2 teams from each group advance to Stage 4. The top 8 of that Swiss bracket I talked about earlier, they also go to the Stage 4 playoffs. That lasts about 2 weeks around Thanksgiving, and then we have top 6 teams advancing to Vegas from the studio LAN, and 8 teams will go to that studio LAN, which does leave room for other regions, which is something, if you watch the announcement on Smite Game, was kind of teased/addressed from Hindu Man, where he explained there will be other regions included. He's looking at South America. He's looking at Brazil. It's sort of just if your region can get up there and be worth investing in, which I understand is kind of a gray topic for some. I know Oceania has been really expressing concerns about it. I still think that overall it makes a lot of sense, especially this early on. And then all that culminates in the Founders Series Championship in Las Vegas towards the middle of January.
You know what's funny, Anthony? We talked about last week. You were asking us that question of what are we looking for? What do we want that would really give us a kick in the ass to watch esports? And one of the things that I think me and Fisher touched on was that sense of grand scale vibes, the regions being brought back. And I'm instantly a lot more reassured to know that that in some respect is going to be making a return. I'm hoping we can catch them all as far as the regions go. We want to see representation for everyone. So, yeah, I'm not going to lie. That definitely got me, like, you know, a bit weird. I'm like, oh, come on, bro. Like, I know my LATAM people can certainly hold their own. There's some kick-ass players like Power, who was just absolutely dominating back in SPL at the top. Exactly.
Ragna.
So,
a lot of the, like one of the teams from the Content Creator Cup, I believe Team iDavy was majority LATAM South America players, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot to that.
There's several tournament leagues that are still remaining active with Smite 1 2. Not too many draft leagues, admittedly, unfortunately, but I'm somewhat plugged into the scene there, so I'm familiar with their game, and they've got game. They can hold their own as long as the ping is in their favor, so I'm hoping that we see more being added to the roster soon.
I agree, and you're not the only one who thinks that. I'm not the only one who thinks that. You know, there's even, if you go into the Smite 2 esports Discord, which is just, I believe it's smiteesports.tg, you'll even see, like we talked about the Oceanic region, they reached out in that Discord, and they got a response. They're going to be speaking here soon with people as well, trying to get their scene and what their scene has going on recognized to help their chances for having a recognized region. There's a lot being put into this. If you looked at the match or max making part of the patch notes, you saw that North Asia is also included in the matchmaking server. So there's a lot of potential there for a lot of cool stuff. But before we move into kind of the deep dive of it on the blog post on Smite Esports, Fisher, what kind of... We talked about initial reactions, but overall, how are you feeling about the region aspect? I know you're a big NAEU guy, or EMEA, now more properly labeled. I know you're big on that competition, but how are you feeling about the overall state of it, the bracket formats, and whatnot?
I mean, I'm just an NA guy, man. America. And
what is
NA
a kilometer?
Yeah, no. I mean, I definitely think the region thing's cool, though. Like, it's hard to argue with the best esports. Like, no matter what game you look at, it's those games where, like, all the different regions are competing. Like, I always use R6 as an example, because I never followed Call of Duty or League of Legends. Like, back when they had, like, 3 different pro leagues running at the same time, like, 10 teams in each region, I just thought all the competition was so much fun. It made it so much better at, like, big tournaments and stuff like that, too. So I think getting as many regions, like... as many, like, rivalries, I don't know if that's the right word, but, like, as many competitions as you can get that, like, kind of bring different areas or, like, different groups of people together, I think is always a good move for esports.
It also, like, I remember recently Judas was talking
Shout out
to
Judas Priestley.
me. Yeah, shout out Judas, very prevalent EU caster, very talented, was helping me out with some VOD review, and he would frequently allude to, like, there's different cultures as well. Like, that's something that I, being in my Smite bubble, I suck at Smite when I play it in the first place. I don't even, I'm very uncultured in that sense. But it's very different across the sea. Across the pond, they play where a 10-minute game with no first blood is very normal. For us, that is a snooze fest. So it's interesting to see those cultures clash. It's kind of funny, you know, when you think culture shock, you're not thinking of, oh, how do 2 different games of Smite interact? But that genuinely can be an interesting aspect to see how those different fields collide and what the interactions are and how they play out. So that's also another neat aspect of regions. Instead of forcing everyone to mesh together off the outset, we can let people kind of form their own ecosystems, find out what works there, and then just mash them all together like a giant robot war. It's going to be awesome.
It's funny, too, because... you know, we've addressed in episode 1 that I am kind of the unk of the podcast. I've been watching Smite for way too long before I was even trying to cast it. And back in the day, that was the thing. You know, you knew EU had a different meta. You knew EU played slow and strategic, and NA smashed their forehead against the wall. And that was part of the experience, was seeing how that worked out and how they played against each other. That died off over time. You know, people point to when teams moved to Georgia as a big part of that. But, you know, there's a million discussions to be had about it. But one thing that's not deniable is we did see some of that stuff kind of fall to the wayside. And we did lose that region v region feeling that was so special and so grandiose. And I do think, honestly, I'm all in on this bracket. A little bit of a peek behind like my personal closed doors, not obviously Smite Esports closed doors. I have myself really wanted to do and help do amateur tournaments that had similar bracket layouts because they're very interesting in MOBAs. A Swiss bracket, a bit newer to Smite, a double Elim, a bit newer to Smite. We haven't seen those in a while, but in amateur scenes, but especially in other games, they are much more common. I am a big watcher of League. I've talked about that before. I love watching League esports. Don't play much of the game. I'm too bad, so chat flames me too much, and I'm typing FF by 10 every game, no matter what I'm doing as my Aatrox solo. But the Swiss stage is so exciting at Worlds, especially in the previous one. So I'm really excited to see that make its way through. But you guys want to get into the details and go through this blog post about each kind of breakdown of the side?
Bring it on. Let's do it.
Yeah. Mr. Screen, here he comes. That's Mr. Screen full. We need yappin/ad screen. There he is. It's a little small. It's a little small.
It's the
but
best day of my
we'll
life
get soon.
seeing Mr. Screen back. I've waited for this, man.
All right, that should be decent enough for those viewing on the video portion. Don't worry, I'll be reading out most of it as well. So tickets go on sale September 13th. More information about that's coming out soon. I'm also kind of waiting for that, so we're all on the same page. The prize pool is $300,000. The tournament is split between 6 stages that total 12 weeks of competition. So rest in peace, my vocal cords, huh, guys? The casting team is going to be in for some work. The first graphic that pops up is what we talked about before. It's sort of a rough overview of the stages and how they connect. Stage 1 is the open bracket qualifiers that include point totals. Those point totals range from 1st place, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, then 5th through 8th, and 9th through 16th. Share a total, and those values are 160, 40, 25 for 1 through 4. 5th through 8th has 10 points, and 9th through 16th gets you 5 points, and those points do matter a lot. This open bracket stage will last 2 weeks, starting September 14th, which is my birthday, and ending September 22nd. Teams who compete will earn points based on their final placements, with the top 16 point earners moving to Stage 2A. That is your Swiss stage, and the teams that don't make it to Stage 2A have a chance to compete during Stage 2B. We talked about it a bit already, but the fact that you can enter, sort of test your mettle, test your roster construction, and then have another chance to live another day, or have like a mini roster apocalypse, which I expect a lot of the SOC level amateur power squads and even some SCC teams that can't break that top 16, there will be mini roster apocalypses we don't even know about in that open bracket, guys.
That's cool, man. We're going to be able to see top threats from, like, just amateur leagues, potentially. Like, Z Tantalus go up against top SPL threats like Weekend. So I'm looking
I knew you were
going to
bring that up. I almost made you address the allegations before we started, but I
will address the allegations. Okay, guys, y'all wilding on YouTube, okay? Because Anthony has alerted me to the startling news that you put up the short of me riding for my boy Weekend. That is the most disliked short he has on his entire YouTube channel. Anthony, how long you been doing this shindig? How long you been on YouTube Shorts?
So I've had the YouTube that I use now was formerly my podcast before I got into esports. That was his own separate entity and did very, very well. So I mean, I had YouTube Shorts posted from the first day you could post YouTube Shorts, including a couple that had a few thousand views, and one of which was my redneck friend like complaining about Chinese food. So the fact that that didn't get more dislikes than what you said is preposterous.
That means that like there's like there's idiots that don't even know anything about Smite that are looking at it from your podcast and there's like, I don't fuck with what that guy's saying. Dislike. That is crazy. You guys are absolute haters. This is my yes, you're not wrong, Fisher. Yes, smart people, but this is my challenge to you haters out there. You suck. That's not really a challenge, but you guys suck. Also, love you guys. Thanks for watching.
Challenge.
Shout out Cosmic Warrior, who said Weekend, Incon, and Awesome Jake in the same team. D-Lo was trying to make the worst team mental-wise. No cap. Who remembers
that was the
Awesome
exact
Jake
reason.
was
It's
ADC.
a content team.
The content.
It's a content team.
I gotta say, I also love how Dila before the stream was like, any publicity is good publicity. The second we
got
get
it.
out here,
It is good publicity. I stand by that, but at the same time, damn, y'all be hating. That is crazy. I do still stand by the mental boom team.
It's justified.
It's literally Team 10. You got Jake, not Paul, but Jake leading the charge, so it makes sense.
So,
I don't think that's helping.
Stage 2A, Swiss. Actually, I need to hide this
Yes.
for 2 seconds. Sorry, gang. All right, now
Mr. Screen, no.
Mr. Screen's coming back.
No
Don't you
way.
worry. Mr. Screen's back.
Cat's
Okay. Swiss 2A, Swiss bracket. 3 wins advance to Stage 4. 3 losses advance to Stage 3. In Stage 2A, the top 16 teams from Stage 1 will compete in a 5-week-long Swiss competition starting September 28th and ending October 27th. Matchups will be determined randomly based on a team's set score. So everyone starts 0-0 in Week 1, and teams only get matched up against others that have the same set score. So 1-0s match 1-0s, 2-0s match 2-0s, 0-1s match 0-1s, so on and so forth, until a team is able to amass 3 set wins or takes 3 set losses and goes to Stage 3. For those who play in OSL, if you're familiar with the Ascension bracket, you are familiar with Swiss brackets. And for those who watch Rocket League, you're very familiar with Swiss brackets, because Swiss brackets are the only reason that Rocket League can function.
True.
The top 8 teams from this stage will move immediately to Stage 4, while the other 8 will move forward to Stage 3. Teams qualify in waves, with 2 teams qualifying in Week 3 and 3 teams qualifying in Weeks 4 and Week 5. The bottom 8 teams will join teams from Stage 2B in Stage 3, the last chance qualifier. In addition, there's a $5,000 prize pool for the top teams during the Swiss stage based on their final placement, which is something that Hindu did allude to during the broadcast. And if we go back up to the sort of rough...
It's a lot of moolah, bruv.
...guideline, yeah, I agree. The kind of rough guideline, if you follow those arrows, all the kind of stage jumping will make a lot more sense. Basically, you win Stage 2A, you're skipping the playoffs. If you lose in Swiss bracket and you win an open bracket, you got to fight through the qualifiers to then get to the playoffs. That's kind of the easiest way to think about it. Reactions to Swiss. I know we all cast a lot of Rocket League. League. Oh my god, between the 3 of us. So it's a popular bracket format we're all used to.
I like the fact that it does. I feel like overall it makes competitive matches. I mean, we saw it today, Anthony. Like, we did a Swiss today for Rocket League 1v1s, and yeah, sure, your first bracket's going to be a bit rough because you're going to have high skill disparities. It eventually narrows down that competition. You know, you have a rough game, you're going to drop down a level, maybe go down to someone who's also having that same rough game, who's also not quite batting at their level in the league. I like it for that aspect. There are I'm not gonna lie. I forget there's definitely a lot of common criticism that goes around about Swiss brackets. I'm not gonna lie though. I don't really understand it, because I feel like the complaints that I hear are people saying, "Well, if you have one bad day for Swiss bracket, you're just done." But at the same time,
but you're kind of not. Yeah,
exactly. It seems like the opposite to me. If anything, you have one mental boom for a series, for a set, and you're still in it. So I'm not going to lie, in that sense, I don't understand the criticism. I don't know. Fisher, do you have any negative downsides? Do you think of any cons for when it comes to a Swiss bracket, just inherently based off of its format?
Nah, man. I just want to see the players play. I don't care too much about the format. Most tournaments, I think, are put on pretty well, especially at this level. Like, I think it just comes down to personal preference. I don't think there's anything really wrong with any specific format they would choose.
I don't know, chat, make sure to drop your opinions on it below as well. What are your thoughts when it comes to how this bracketing is laying out here? What are your thoughts when it just comes to the general format? Are you excited for the return of regions? Are you going to buy your ticket for Vegas as well? Of course, that's what we all got our minds on. I'm nervous about that, Anthony. Just real quick to tie back to that. I've never bought a ticket for an event before. I know Fisher is experienced with his refreshing game. He's very good at it. He's got those clicky fingers. I'm not so sure if I'm up to snuff with it, especially with my terrible trackpad on this laptop. So
with the buying tickets?
Yeah,
I bought a ticket for the last Worlds, and then I just didn't go.
What the hell?
Yeah. He got the ticket, though. He got the ticket.
He did. He's an expert at that. So if you're looking to scalp someone, I guess you can do it again. Easy peasy.
So
I didn't scalp anyone. What do you
also
mean?
Worth mentioning that those Swiss bracket games are best of 3s. something not
that
listed
is
here
important
that
to
was
mention.
said
I think that
during,
makes it way better.
That was said during the initial broadcast where they put that information out. The only real place where there is a lot of best of ones is what we're looking at on screen right now, which is Stage 2B, the open bracket that is essentially the second open bracket that you go to if you lost on the initial qualifiers. There's a lot of best of ones there. Grand finals are best of 3, I believe, but that is where the majority of the best of ones are, which, I mean, quantity-wise of teams, that does make a lot of sense. But I do like that there's as much of a limit on best of ones that you could possibly imagine. So that makes me happy. One thing I'm hoping to see is a lot of coverage of these games. Not from, and I'm not talking about broadcast. I'm talking more just players streaming their perspectives. Shout out to Spirited Book and Hydra, where they do amateur content. I know Hydra is going to be playing in the open bracket on a team from Marshall University, so that's really exciting. Cool. But I want to see content from those teams. I'd love to see, I know teams are weird about scrims, but just, VOD reviews of some kind, or streaming their games with comms muted, or having people like, you, D-Lo, Fisher, having people cast their games from that open bracket. I really hope that's something we start to see. We're talking a lot about Rocket League, but in Rocket League, that is a very common thing, even for RLCS. You have so many teams that a lot of times those lower, kind of unheard of teams, or teams that are sort of bubble, will get a lot of coverage from, your friendly neighborhood amateur casters until they get to the RLCS mainstream. So I kind of hope that becomes a thing with this open bracket. I think that'd be very healthy for the scene as a whole. So that's kind of wishful thinking on my part, but something I'm interested in regardless.
Yeah. It leaves the door open as well for people who are interested in getting their start for casting, which I know there are people out there. They want to find a way in. This is a pretty gosh darn good way to do it. So if you are just sitting on your butt, just twiddling your thumbs, wondering, man, I sure would love to be a caster. I sure would love to say fun things.
Now's the time.
And sometimes, now's the time. Now is genuinely the time. You want to get started while the iron's hot. Get poking. Get in there. Start learning the tech. Start learning the items. And if you get like a good team together, you could find yourself some good broadcasts, find yourself some good viewership, and also have a whale of a good time. It's just fun casting.
Stage 2B. That is open bracket, similar to Stage 1. Teams that sign up will compete in single elimination tournaments for 5 weeks during the same time frame as Stage 2A, which is the Swiss bracket, amassing points based on their final placement each week. The top 8 teams from this stage join the bottom 8 teams from the Swiss stage, and they meet in Stage 3. That is your last chance qualifier, which uses GSL grouping to play, which is a StarCraft invention, if I know my esports lore at least a little bit. There was some asking in Twitch chat, I remember, but that is where that comes from. So,
not to be mistaken for Galarius Smite League.
Definitely not. F. Tanuki Smite League, by the way, if you are an EU Smite player who's looking for a draft league experience.
Speaking of,
Tanuki Smite League is your home for that. So Stage 3. 16 teams will be split into 4 GSL groups starting November 2nd and ending November 10th. Teams will be seeded based on their final Swiss ranking and their open bracket points, and face off against each other across 5 matches in each group. In the end, the top 2 teams from each group will advance to the next stage, and that stage is playoffs. GSL brackets are another one I like a lot, guys. I feel like this is using a lot of this is kind of picking and choosing and saying, this works really well in these games. This works really well in these games. This works really well in a lot of games. Let's not be afraid to kind of mix and match to get the best possible experience. And I think this last chance qualifier combined with the GSL groups really kind of makes it a smooth bridging point between getting some of those more dark horse teams from the open bracket and the losers of Swiss through to the playoffs.
What the Fisher?
You okay?
I tried to throw my water bottle behind me and I hit myself in the head.
Dude, I thought it was like a cat. I was like,
there's just
someone did a rainbow behind you. That was
you guys
awesome.
are up here and I'm looking straight forward. I look over and you're both giggling.
No, I see a flash of blue and I see Fisher just like kind of like move
I missed
forward.
my trash.
Like,
he's getting
my
swatted.
trash can and I hit myself on the.
You
In my
are the
defense,
trash
I
can for that,
tried
bro.
to do a trick shot. I tried to like go over my head instead of just like throwing it, but
the skill shot. Unfortunately, Fisher is having a rough time.
The
Did
lack
not
of
land
skill
those-
shot.
You
Yeah.
needed some you needed some CC to be set up there. You need me to taunt the.
Yeah,
trash
you
can
was
needed
rough.
buffed
That was rough.
Kumbhakarna. That's 2 podcasts in a row where
Yeah,
we've mentioned
buddy.
buffed Kumbhakarna.
Good.
I went on a
honestly. Keep
whole
that going.
Kumbhakarna like hate rant on my cast today.
You want to give us a
Like,
summarize?
admit
You want to
it.
give us a summarized version of it real quick, bud?
Stupid god, people shouldn't play him.
This is how I felt about Hachiman since the gods.
That's
released,
different. That's
so.
different. Hachimon's good.
How is that?
Kumbhakarna's bad.
Good as in like good for the game, or good as in good on paper? Because
All right.
Kumbhakarna is good on
I'm
paper.
stretching
Too.
while you guys hash this out.
Kumbhakarna's only good, like, if you don't know what good is. Kumbhakarna sucks.
Explain. You're not. Listen. You're the C2. You definitely have good reasons why. I genuinely am curious because I don't
Bro,
know.
he
I've
walks
seen-
around yawning and going bonk, and then you just can't move. It's so dumb.
Okay, so you just don't like the god then? Like that's valid.
No,
I completely-
no, the character is designed fine. I just don't like him.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie,
I find it irritating when I'm in the
Yes.
middle of a fight, like all these gods with supernatural abilities, and then this guy just, and I can't move for 3 seconds. Yeah, it irritates me so
No, that-
much.
It's a god that I think is well designed for the kit, but I do think is an inherently there's what I think are called like in wildlife, you have indicator species, which is if it's doing well in that environment, that means that your entire environment is flourishing. So like for example, if a woodpecker is
Woodchuck
at
wood.
a healthy population, that means the
I
woods
don't
are
think
doing
that's
well.
the right answer.
That was the joke.
It's not the right animal. I'm just giving the example, gosh darn it.
Woodpeckers
Anyway.
and woodchucks, man. They're
I
the same.
think that how much can they chuck wood? And how much can Kumbhakarna chuck you in the air before your meta is not healthy is the question. And I think
Chuck me
Kumbhakarna is a
in the air
bad
once
indicator
before my
species.
mind
I think
breaks.
if Kumbhakarna is in a good position, I think that and like Bakasura are two gods that are like bad indicator species where if they're thriving, the rest of the meta is not. I'm not sure if that might be a hot take, but I feel like that's oftentimes what's happened. Like when there's a Freya dominated meta or a Bakasura dominated meta, I feel like people are just generally not having as much fun.
Yeah, I need a. I was gonna say I had to make sure I raise my hand so I can interject this. I'm genuinely curious which two you guys would pick because I got one in mind. If you had to pick one god that's like a good indicator species in Smite, like when this god's doing good, the meta's good. Which god would you pick? I got one in mind, but I need to hear yours.
Anthony, you go first. What you got? I gotta think harder because I don't know.
I'm gonna say
I can go before you if you
Raw.
want, Kilo.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Raw's not a bad one.
I think Ra's actually a really
because
good
if he's
one.
if
Okay,
he's
you
able to
back it up.
survive and be this sort of sustain objective secure farming type of mid laner, but he's also not kind of OP being banned. He's just being picked up. I feel like the meta is in a state where people aren't getting blown up, where people have some freedom of choice in gods. You're deeper in the mid lane pool. I think it's a good sign.
That's a really good answer, actually. Fisher, you go first.
I'll go before Dilo. I was gonna say Terra. I feel like Terra in a good spot is normally good for most of the meta. Like there hasn't really been a time, even when Terra's broken, like it's not game breaking. I don't think there's ever been like a bad meta that Terra's been super powerful in. It's not as good as an answer as Raw. I think you beat me there.
No, I think Raw honestly is a.
I
that
just
is
want
the
to
nail on
hear.
the head.
Just want to hear Dilo go King Arthur. Or something like
No,
that.
I don't like King Arthur. I find him actually a very frustrating god to play against. Love to hear the chat's reactions to this as well. Feel free to drop what you think is a healthy indicator species for the Smite meta or a negative one.
Cernanos.
I think Cernos
Okay,
is
pal.
good. I don't think he. Yeah, that's a bit more personal bias. I could for jokes say Ymir, but
Huge
I
bias.
don't necessarily think that's the case. Actually, I will say to some extent, I do think Ymir actually is true because that also leads to flexibility and supports that can go a bit more damage and can be a bit more immobile, which is fun. I was going to actually say Sylvanas, which is similar in essence in the fact that you can play in a mobile guardian. You have heal, which is kind of still at a relevant point. Fisher, you are glaring at me through the cam. You are staring me down. For our viewers listening on
I
Spotify,
didn't
he
think you
is
could see me.
mean mugging the shit out of me right now for saying that. Did I offend you? I'm sorry. I
Okay,
think that's the one.
I'd agree with you on every count but one. When Sylvanas was good because of Sylvanas mannequins, the game was not in a worse state.
Oh,
ever in its
Anthony
history.
hated that too. Actually, you're not wrong. I
Like-
remember that.
Okay, anything besides mannequin Sylvanas, I think is a good indicator, but that specific combo was so dumb that it
Yeah,
almost
pretty bad. It's pretty
single-handedly
bad,
made me
dude.
quit Smite. Like it wasn't necessarily
Okay.
Hi-Rez's fault. Like that's just something people picked up, but legit almost made me quit Smite. that single combination. So
that
bad.
one's fair. No, I remember that. I think one time it was either me and you, Fisher, or me and you, Anthony, who cast like a Sylvanas solo, who like ran the entire thing. And no, it was you and me, Anthony, because we were pissed off. We were screaming about how unfun it was. So okay, valid.
I mean, besides
cases.
that, Sylvanas would be good.
Yes, in most cases.
I mean, I understand the logic.
I still think Raw honestly was a really good answer for that, Anthony. So props to you. I agree. That's a good indicator species to me because it's always fun. It's fun to watch too. It's fun to watch and to play Raw.
Everyone likes watching Raw.
Hell yeah.
So.
Sorry, I sidetracked.
That covers the last chance qualifier. I mean, and you know what? Honestly, in a weird way, the fact we were able to kind of get off stage and there wasn't strong opinions about this LCQ is just, it kind of speaks to the smoothness, as I mentioned, of it being a sort of bridge spot from getting the Swiss and the open bracket chaos more condensed and then setting up playoffs. But biggest thing to take away, your open bracket teams, your loser teams from Swiss, they have a chance here to move on to playoffs. And playoffs, that is stage 4. And you see, if you're looking on the screen and not listening on Spotify, that the bracket gets pretty big again for playoffs. That's because it's double elimination, baby! People have been asking for double elimination in Smite for a very, very long time, guys. And before I even read it, they got it. So
what does that mean? What does that mean? Like, genuinely, what does double
elimination? So a double
mean?
elimination, teams start out in a bracket, right? If you lose, you're not eliminated. You go down to the losers bracket, and you can play your way back through. And
losers pool, like Smash Bros.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That is something that people have been wanting in Smite for a very long time. It's pretty hard to do in MOBAs because MOBAs take forever. It's one of those things that kind of comes with the territory, but I'm very excited to see it here. So I'll go ahead and read Stage 4 as I've read the others. Stage 4, the 8 teams from GSL groups will join the top 8 from Swiss in a 2-week-long 16-team double elimination tournament starting November 16th and ending November 24th. These teams will be seeded based on a group draw where the top seeded teams from Swiss will choose their opponents in round number 1. The top teams from each region move forward to the Studio LAN in Stage 5. So there's a lot of interesting stuff with Stage 4. It isn't just a double elim, but you also have the benefit of winning Swiss, aside from the prize pool, is you get to choose your opponents. And you've got, on paper, weaker opponents coming through. So we're going to have that, if you watch Season 10, you're going to have that moment of, okay, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to sassily pick the opponents we think we're going to shit on. And then it might not always go the way that you think. I mean, one of the most pie on my face moments in esports you can have is when a team says, we want to face X or Y, and then they get dumpstered.
Dude, that sets up for some really good storylines in that sense. Us as casters are always looking for that, but like that really could be a lot of fun. It's not just an underdog. It's an underdog that they picked out. It's the bully calling on the nerd, shoving them into the locker, but then the kid reveals that they've actually been taking karate classes from Mr. Miyagi the entire time. That's actually going to be a lot of fun.
I'm happy it's double elim. I'm happy people get their double elim too, to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Anything strong from you, Fisher, before we move into Stage 5 and 6?
No, not really. I'm
it was the fact his head snapped.
I keep getting caught up in DLM metaphors, man.
My bad.
Stage 5.
No, they're good metaphors. I just I keep laughing to myself.
The top teams from playoffs will come to the studio in Alpharetta, Georgia. I'll be there, casting that, waiting for them, to compete for a chance to go to Vegas from December 12th through December 15th. These teams will play in 2 groups, 4 teams each for both qualification and seeding, with 2 teams getting eliminated and the other 6 qualifying for the live LAN event in the HyperX Arena in Las Vegas. And the information listed on the blog for Stage 6 is HyperX Arena in Las Vegas. Based on their seeding from Stage number 5, 6 teams will come to the HyperX Arena to compete in a double elimination $300,000 prize pool tournament from January 17th to 19th, 2025. These teams will play in front of a live audience, fans, to become the first LAN winners of Smite 2 and the Smite Founders Series champions. So I'm incredibly excited for that. There's a mention to check out Smite Pro for more details. Like I said as well, the Q&A with Hindu Man is not far away, and that's going to be something I recommend any esport fan for Smite 2 really pays a lot of attention to, because 90% in my brain, maybe even 99%, if you have a question, it's probably going to be answered that day. Hindu is very good about taking questions, and the entire esports team is they're trying really hard to be transparent. I think if you don't see that, you're kind of head in the mud. It's my personal opinion, not like, newcaster opinion. I think the transparency has been really awesome pretty much all of this year of, we're working on stuff. We have nothing to show you. We have stuff to show you. Here's stuff to show you. We're doing a Q&A. Here's the thing you want. It's been great. I'm happy with all these changes. It's all stuff I'm liking. There's still a few, surprises in store for like Vegas. There's also, there's a lot of stuff that can happen along the way. I'm excited to come out. And also, of course, we're casters. We'd be remiss not to mention the casting team. I actually saw a post about this on Reddit, which is the first place I believe that this was fully announced, funny enough. And it wasn't even like a fully announced. It was kind of just like somebody said they asked and they got an answer. The casting team is Gormizer, Trelly, J-Mac, Dulcin, and me.
Somebody casting?
I am crazy, right? Somebody said they hope that we get to see some Mifflin or even some Hindu casts, and someone mentioned that Aggro was listed in the extended cut of Hindu Man's 11. I mean, that's stuff above my head, but I know it's me, Dulcin, Gormizer, J-Mac, and Trelly. That's what I can tell you for sure. That's what I know, and that's who I'm excited to cast with at the moment. But I'm really excited. I think it's going to be fantastic. It starts September 14th. Smite esports.gg to be in the Discord and all that good stuff. So guys, we've broken down Smite 2 esports. How are we feeling? What's on the brain?
So
much positive, which is weird.
Play some games. I want to play some games. Want to get my ass handed to me and some nice
Tuesday at
friends.
7 a.m.
It's coming close.
As we're recording at this podcast, at least.
As far as the esports
August 27th.
itself, I really, as far as the competitive scene goes, I don't really have any strong opinions ever on the brackets. I really just genuinely want everyone to be happy with it, because I want people to be happy and enthused about a game that I really am passionate about. So I'm happy to see that. I think a lot of the bigger influencers on the subject, my fave Weekend, is also showing some positivity. And these are people who before were throwing some doubt, throwing some shade. So I'm pleased that we are seeming to be all satisfied. Yeah, we have some naysayers, we have some buts, we have some ifs. And me and Anthony, you and I were talking about this earlier. There's a double-edged sword, I think, aspect to remember to this, which is that, yes, and this is going to come off as maybe a bit negative for me, but I think it's important to bring up, and I imagine some people might agree, is that, yes, we're expecting competitive esports from a game that technically is not finished just yet. That means that there are going to be elements outside of the player's control. There's going to be bugs. There's going to be potentially game-changing bugs. Is there a cause to be worried about that? Yeah. And I think it's important that, like you said, the transparency continues. And it's not like Hi-Rez is not being transparent about that fact. They're not trying to sell it to you as a full game. This is not Ark Survival Evolved. This is Smite 2. But I do think the issue is, if you have that pretense of esports, you have that pretense of competition, people are naturally just going to take it as, oh, there's $300,000 at stake for this, so they're treating it like a real game. And in that sense, I'm going to stand by what, again, me and Anthony had discussed this prior. I'm curious for your thoughts on it too, Fisher. I think it's kind of fair for people to be a bit questioning of that aspect of it. And yeah, we have the solution that they can enter late, like Anthony said. That's nice. That gives people that way to, okay, check it out maybe first, see, not so sure how I feel about the fact that it's still in these alpha stages. You have a chance to check it out. I do understand that concern, that rigmarole. I overall think, though, these are some very positive strides forward.
Fisher's thinking. I can see it in his face.
Fisher
I did
will
not
remember
know
that.
it was my turn to talk. I
said your name, you Dubsky.
And your face says you got a lot in there. Come on, what's behind the head? Let us into the noggin.
What's in the hat?
Just to make sure I'm about to talk about the right subject, right? You're talking about people what to expect in the first weekend.
Just sort of
if someone's
like
general
esports and
thoughts.
stuff.
Yeah, if someone's like worried about, I don't know, if someone's saying, man, why should I dedicate so much grind time to a competitive esport when the game might not even fully be at its functioning form? Like, I don't know, do you guys think that's like a valid critique? Do you guys think that we're just kind of raising a big stink for nothing? Or, I don't know, a mix of the two? And also, like Anthony said, general thoughts too.
I mean, I'm a pretty simple guy. If you like the game, play it. If you're scared there's going to be a game-breaking glitch, don't play the damn game. It's still in an alpha, right? Closed alpha.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying like the fact that it is in an alpha like excuses the fact that there are going to be bugs and stuff, because obviously if you're in that stage you want the game polished. But the people expecting like to play it day 1 Tuesday are the same people that's going to like freak out if their lobby crashes an hour into a closed alpha for a game a ton of people are logging into. Like, you gotta be expecting bugs. I don't see how anyone gets mad at bugs in an alpha stage. The game is not out yet. It's not supposed to be perfect. I don't see why people would get mad at that. Like, that's part of the thing of playing it early. You gotta play it early, you gotta have fun. Like, you accept the chance that the game might not be complete, that there might be a couple things off about it. So, yeah, I don't really think it'd be a risk to play it early or anything. I think it just, if you want to do it, do it. But I don't think they should be expecting, like, a 100% polished game. Like, even games when they're fully out will never be devoid of bugs.
Yeah, and I think you both kind of answered your own, like, I don't want to say your own issue, but you kind of did in the sense of, if somebody doesn't want to play it right now, if somebody doesn't want to compete in the esport right now, they're not going to. They might watch it, but they're not going to compete if they don't want to compete. Just like they aren't going to most likely spend that money until the game is free to play if they want to wait
like
until
grocery
the game
store
is free to play.
simulator, it's free.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people ultimately people will do what they want to do with Malamart. Shout out to Malamart with their money. And you know, one thing I've kind of felt like, and I've said this I think I even said this in the previous, like the first episode of Late at Smite. The Founders Pack exists for Smite people. You're getting the God Pack, which a lot of I know not everybody. April, I'm looking at you. A lot of people bought the God Pack because it got you all the gods. Plain and simple. And I get that. I think that's makes sense, and I think it makes a lot of sense to continue to do that in Smite 2, which is what the Founders Pack is for. So I could see a lot of people buying it because they're going to buy it anyway. If you have it, may as well compete, or you may as well watch, see what's going on, play what you want to play in your games that you see from the Founders series, just like when people see stuff in SPL back in Smite 1, and you know, you've all of a sudden you got Loki solos running rampant in your game, whatever it may be. I think there will be bugs, there will be this, there will be that, but that's kind of part of what makes it an alpha. You know,
it's
that's
part
why,
of the course.
That's why it's the Founders series, and that's why it's the Founders series LAN in Las Vegas and not the launch tournament in Vegas. I know we were talking about that earlier as well, Dilo, where there's a reason that things are called the way they are. There's a reason things are worded the way that they are. And, you know,
okay.
Ultimately, like, I feel like the majority of people should know what they're buying into. And if you don't, I don't necessarily, I don't know, I don't feel like that's to blame on, oh, esports shouldn't exist. Oh, Irish shouldn't have that. We're here now.
If names are so important, Anthony, make me an actual founder. Give me high-res stock. If I pay $30, I want actual high-res assets.
I want some too.
I want to build up my portfolio. I want to build up my Robin Hood. I want to see my stonks rise. If I'm a founder of Smite 2,
make me a founder.
I want to be a
damn
damn founder. Yeah, exactly. Come on, guys, let me in. I've got hella business acumen. Do you see my jacket? Do you see my pristine jacket?
I do like the jacket. I noticed it earlier when we were casting. Yeah, I like the jacket.
Thanks, man.
I'm just happy that Fisher isn't wearing a Rockies hat today. The Rockies beat the Yankees 9-2 today, and I have yet to recover emotionally, mentally, physically. I'm not doing great.
We suck.
I could walk over and put on my Rockies jersey, but you know, I'm gonna be nice.
You notice
I'm
wearing a black T-shirt to the funeral.
Yeah, he was wearing a Yankees hat earlier today. He took it off in shame. Damn, that's sad, bro.
Yeah, it's sad.
I don't even know if I have my City Connect hat up here. Like all my Rockies gear besides my jersey might still be at home. So you got lucky today.
I'm safe today.
What's on your hat right now, Fisher? Is that a moose?
It's Ice Age.
It's a mammoth. It's not Ice Age.
Is it Ice Age?
It's just a woolly mammoth. The hat on the bed behind me is the one from the brewery.
Is that Ray Romano on your hat?
Is that Ray Romano? Is that Manny? Is that Manny from Ice Age, bro?
He's changing his hat. Oh, I thought he was changing it.
Oh, dude, that was some good sleight of hand, bro.
That was really good. He got me.
That was pretty impressive. Fish is a
Don't
magician,
assault my head.
My ankles are broken.
No, I was gonna throw it and grab the other one, but it's too far without rolling my chair back like 6 inches, and I don't want to do that.
Bro hates Kumakarna because he's just lazy like him.
Well,
no, I don't have like one of those plastic mats to go under your chair, and I don't want to mess a carpet up.
Okay, no, that actually is valid reasoning. Fair enough. All right, so Anthony, Smite 2 talk.
It's crazy cat.
We should get into that.
Yeah, so Smite 2 comes out Tuesday morning, August 27th at 7 a.m. You know, like Fisher said, expect server mishaps, yada, 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 whatever. It's going to happen. It's a new game, and it happens with every new game that comes out, so I don't know why at this point people would be surprised. Don't take off work. Wait till Wednesday for that stuff if you want to be degenerate. Wait till servers are stable. All that good stuff. But I'm over the moon. I played in my last Flash test that I was committing to trying to play a little bit, you know, look at some items, set up, get my settings up, yada, yada, yada. I played an arena game with Mordred. Arena looks fantastic. Mordred's so fun. Mordred's ultimate that they showcased it during the Smite 2 patch notes. Holy shit, what an ultimate. Dude runs through walls and can pick people up. I said something when I
missed your screen Mordred kit real quick?
Yes, give me a second. I will do that. Before I do, I just want to get this point out there because we're probably going to bring it up anyway. I can't wait until somebody Deathwalkers with Mordred ultimate and pull 5 people with it. It's going to be absolutely absurd, but please, you two, yap about Smite 2 while I pull this up.
I need to look more into the Mordred kit. All I knew is that I heard the word Mordred, and I immediately thought of that book series, The Ranger's Apprentice. I don't know if you all have read that. A very good YA series back when I was a kid. No? Fisher's giving me looks of doubt and confusion.
I heard of it. I don't think I ever read it. I was more into Percy Jackson.
That's understandable. Percy Jackson's also very good. But I immediately knew he was Arthurian. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I think the Arthurian pantheon is inherently the most boring pantheon, bro. That's my opinion. They're not even gods. But his kit, from what I've seen, the minor amount I've seen between Anthony's messaging in all caps saying, "Oh my God, look at this!" I do think it looks cool. I still think, though, the pantheon itself is rough. Kat's saying, sheesh. Kat, what did I say wrong, bro? You don't agree that the Arthurian pantheon is the least interesting? You're going to tell me that...
going to get dunked on again in the YouTube Reels comments.
That's fine. They can put dislikes on me for that one. I think I'm going to stand by that with my chest proudly flared out. Because what pantheon is less interesting? I mean, Cthulhu is a pantheon of one, but... Fisher, don't
even go there.
I'm not saying anything, bro. I'm not going to lie. I did think it was a bit silly to have Cthulhu in the game, but he's cool. He's cool. And... not a pantheon, so one god, but if we're talking about an actual group, Arthurian's definitely bottom tier.
All right, just about God.
Somebody clip that. Somebody put that one up.
You don't agree? You were just complaining about King Arthur in support.
I'm gonna pull him up.
I was complaining about King Arthur in support, not King Arthur. I don't know. The one problem I have like with the Arthurian pantheon is kind of like you said, they're not gods. I think the important caveat though is there are a ton of non-gods like in Smite, like Achilles, Mulan. Medusa is like mythology, but I don't know, just like heroes and stuff, you know. So I don't think it's a huge deal. I do think though, like that'll never be as cool as like the Egyptian gods or the Norse gods.
No.
So here's your kit showcase.
This is horrible.
Tilo, look away.
I'm trying. It's so violent.
For those listening, the Ymir bots are getting the hands from Mordred right now.
Reminds me a bit of Tsukiyomi in a sense, with that long basic that cleaves.
This is a clumsy character, so that does make sense. I believe I think clumsy did Tsukiyomi. I might not be correct on that. So
very anime.
There's a lot of gods he did.
This is a Monster Hunter. This is a character for Monster Hunter players.
That's wild.
Well, this is the ultimate. This is the ultimate. This ultimate is unbelievable.
Wait, what the?
He just runs through walls.
Okay, I literally could not be more correct. That is actually a Monster Hunter character disguised as Smite. That's funny.
And you can grab up multiple people with the ultimate as well. So
this could be great for escapes.
How do you grab multiple?
They just have to be close enough. You'll see here in a bit. They'll be kind of mushed together. They put the Ymir bots together.
No way.
They get 4. They just don't put the 5th Ymir bot there, but you can bring 4 up into the air. So
that's really crazy. What's like
he has his one's kind of like your more basic. No, he is more of like a frontline kind of, classes don't exist in Smite 2. Basically a warrior. He's got warrior vibes to him. He is a hybrid character. His weapons and his abilities
he's Kleena?
have Well, you know what people were saying in chat. I'm derailing myself from that. What if he can catch Kleena in the walls? How cool would that be?
Oh my freaking god!
Wait, is Kleena even in Smite 2?
No,
she's not
no,
yet.
No, we don't know yet.
But every character
okay,
from Smite 1 will eventually be in Smite 2. So
holy that Anthony!
So I get
that
my Orla back.
Yes.
Genuinely, Anthony, that would be, I think, so freaking cool. That would be such a hype call. Literally cannot escape into the walls, pulls them out of there, just busts through like Pauly D's head on Jersey Shore episode 3, season 3, when he like just busts his head through a wall. Like that's what I want to see here, but. This guy Mordred through Kleena. That's awesome. Okay, so we're about to see it right here. This is like the multi-man.
Yeah, they start grouping them up. So if you see on the left-hand side what they're hovering on screen right now is shoulder charge. The interact key, which is new to Smite 2, you basically get a dash. I believe it's activated. It's either an ability or an auto. I don't know why it's escaping my brain, but you use I think it's an ability, and then you can dash with your interact key. So it's kind of like a fifth ability almost. In a sense, it knocks players back. It doesn't do damage or anything like that. So it's an auto. So you auto and then you can dash. Auto dash. And there's a cooldown of... It was like 8 seconds when I was playing Arena. I'm not sure if that's the most up-to-date cooldown. But each sword has different scaling, intelligence or strength. His entire kit is designed around being hybrid. I can tell you from everything I've seen of him actually being played, I'm seeing a lot of him built like a frontline. If you build him an assassin from Smite 1 vibe, if you try to go, glass cannon in the jungle, you're probably going to be disappointed and he's going to feel weak. You're definitely going to want to build Mordred more of a frontline bruiser hybrid style. Think King Arthur, he's kind of designed to be King Arthur's match. Think King Arthur. You want that same play style, being able to stick on somebody, tank through, drop cooldowns, charge up your ultimate, because his ultimate does have 2 charges. Heart Slash and Pursue the Weak are the 2 different names for his ultimate. So you want to be able to work around that a lot like King Arthur. You can see it here, 20% intelligence scaling, 100% strength for one sword, 60% strength, and 100% intelligence scaling for the other sword.
That's really good. It's like Soul Reaver and Windshear from Skyrim. I kind of like that.
Yeah,
like
so each sword is doing different types of damage as they're slamming.
That's really cool.
And then each auto gives you the shoulder, so you get a lot of cool combos in there too.
Here's what I will say about character design in any game that has a long lifespan. My one worry does sometimes become, and I remember actually this was said on a Weekend video when Kleena was released, is the fact that when they revealed Kleena's passive, he was like, Raw gets movement speed using abilities. And it's like, it's kind of true. Yes, it's useful, but like some gods just have like way more interesting things than others. And in my opinion, I think we saw this for Smash Bros, where there was what was called the DLC effect for each character. When you had a DLC character, there's always like the DLC move, the DLC perk that just no other character really has. I think you risk kind of just making it too staunchly overcomplicated, and you try to just keep adding more and more. I'm not saying that's what I think. That's not what I'm seeing here, but just seeing that, like, okay, they have a shoulder bash now, they have a 5th ability. I'm like, Obviously,
a lot of that, I mean, technically Hecate does as well. Hecate's interact key works with the towers. It's sort of that concept. It's adding things that don't kill, don't do damage as a 5th thing. And kind of on topic, but just to sort of address this in case, like, somebody skips ahead or whatever it might be. Characters coming out in the game. So Smite 2 is launching on Tuesday for closed alpha. You have to have a founders pack. 23 gods will be in the game. They said during the patch notes, every 3 weeks we will get 2 additional gods. And they made a very big point, and, from the little bit I know, I can say it's true, but, like, I'm not a dev production. They work on these characters for months. This isn't like they're rushing characters to have 2 by every 3 weeks. They have them staggered. Characters are still getting that, like, 5 to 6 month period of work done on them. So some characters are getting new stuff, some are getting more than others. There's things mentioned like, Cupid's probably one of the only characters getting a full remodel the way we've seen. Other characters might have touch-ups. Not every character is going to have a Zeus ability rework, but some might. And down the line, you could still see things change. It's Smite 1 does that now. So, I'm not super concerned. But, Mordred, for me, I see what you mean with the 5th ability thing, but I do think to me, he feels like a launch character of a game. I don't mean that in a negative connotation, but he feels like a box shipping character. Like, okay, I can play
flashy.
him. He's cool. He has a cool look. He's got the vampire aesthetic going. His abilities are bright. They're colorful. He's got the edgelord aesthetic.
He's got that hot topic drip.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be good. He feels like a box shipping character. I mean, they already got Mordred on the art, so it's like Bellona, Mordred, Zeus.
Yeah.
So, and Thor's not in the game yet. I think he's exactly the kind of character I expected to be out with Smite 2.
No, it makes sense. I'm not, like I said, I'm not worried about it necessarily with him. Just a note for the future for me personally. And even if they add overly complicated gods, like you'll still have your old gods to go to. The meta's going to develop very interestingly, given that you have that piecemeal fashion. It's going to move very quick. It's like Pokemon, kind of like how they're bringing back the national dex slowly and slowly. Game Freak and Hyra's got to deal with that same issue of just when do we introduce who and how is that going to like impact things. I'm sure, like, as a C2 Fisher, you're going to have to look out, like, up ahead into the future to imagine, like, those matchups, how's this going to all shake up completely differently once this one god that trumps this god comes into the field. It's going to be interesting.
Especially with one competitive ban.
Oh, wait, what?
Per team. Each team gets one ban. It'll be staying the same for a while.
Ooh. That's interesting. I did not realize that.
Yeah, that's what's been going on for the Alpha Weekend tournaments, and I have not heard anything about that changing. I know Ranked will be similar because, ultimately, there's not that many characters in the game, so it's hard to have more than one ban.
Yeah, I mean, they plan on changing that later, right? It's not just
that's not a forever thing.
Forever.
Okay.
Okay.
It's probably something that's going to scale with the amount of characters in the game. I'd say that's safe to say.
Sense.
But I do think one
actually
ban
increase it to 20 bans per team.
Yeah, just eliminate a fourth of the roster.
5-on-5, Ymir only. Really break down the competitive style.
Don't give them hope.
That sounds awesome. Sounds like my
so
dream.
yeah, while I'll keep the Mordred gameplay rolling for those hanging, but
for those
item
ADHD,
store.
like
One thing we didn't talk about.
like Subway Surfers.
I am not the biggest fan of this. I don't think I have a popular opinion on not being a fan of this. How do you guys feel about Smite 2 adding in a bunch of items from Smite 1 for the launch, as opposed to just sticking with the Smite 2 only items?
Ooh. Fisher, I'm going to let you definitely earn this one first. Like, you are item guy.
I don't know. I guess I'm fine with it. The only bad thing about adding in like a ton of items is it's going to be hard to balance them with all the new stuff. Like, you have to make sure they're scaled correctly. Because, like, the items in Smite 1 and Smite 2 are going to be different. Even if they're similar in nature, like, they're obviously going to be different. They're going to do different stuff. They're designed to do different stuff, like, on a different map. But in terms of just, like, reusing items, I'm perfectly fine with it. I don't have a problem with it. The items are items. Like, I don't personally need a whole new item shop for a new game. Like, I don't mind them recycling stuff at all.
As for my end, like, there's the valid complaint that people are having with that we're losing. All right, here's the thing. I will say it's annoying because some people are like, "Man, this is starting to look like Smite 1. Why even make it like a sequel?" But then they're like, "Also, I miss like this aspect of Smite 1." So
because everybody asked.
That's like it's so monotonous. The debate about it. Me personally, I want to see it be unique. I want to see it be differentiated. I don't want it to go down the Overwatch 2 pathway where we just see literally the game being reverted back to what it was before with a couple new skins and a couple new characters. So yeah, I personally, I'm not really with that. I have a bit of ho-hum, bit of bah humbug for that idea just because what are we here for then, Like, we're in the early alpha. Do we really need... Why are we still here just to suffer? Exactly. So I don't understand what I don't know. I guess maybe that's kind of a knee-jerk reaction by Hi-Rez, maybe trying to please and sate those people who are saying that we missed the old Smite 1 straight off the road Smite 1, but, then play a different game.
I'm not a dev, I'm not a designer. I do agree with the decision they made to rename some of the items in Smite 2 to match items in Smite 1 that did similar things. I think that makes a lot of sense. The bringing in items from Smite 1, I don't love it. I know
Voidstone's back though. I'm happy about that actually. I'm not gonna lie. I do like Voidstone.
one thing that I've been seeing in the little bit of playtests I've been looking at is people are just building Smite 1 builds, and that was one thing we didn't see in the Alpha Weekend tournaments. If you're watching them, like Lokis were trying out intelligence builds, adapting one EMEA with Soul Devour intelligence Loki, and it worked fantastic. So taking that away and kind of, you're not forcing players to build old. Players are choosing to build what's comfortable, and I understand those are two different things. I just would have also liked the kind of stranglehold into trying something new. I don't know. I hope that eventually we kind of see a nice merge of the two, and it's not just an overwhelming, everyone's building Smite 1 items. People are like, wow, these Smite 2 items kind of cook. I'm going to build these instead. But especially for the first bit of competitive, we're going to see the first bit of ranked we're going to see as the game is launching with this new rank system. We're probably going to see a lot of Smite 1 builds, especially with like ADCs in particular and mids come back.
That's a bit unfortunate in my opinion. I think it makes sense that you're going to opt for what you're comfortable with. I mean, I'm the kind of person who when I go to Subway, I find what sandwich I want. I don't deviate from that sandwich. I'm going to get steak and cheese every time. And it's probably going to be the same thing with items. So, we lose a bit of build variety there, which is also another thing that I was definitely talking about that I want to see from Smite 2. That's a bit upsetting. But
well,
like
a positive note, full
parties
for ranked, total ranked reworked, and new ranks overall.
Could you not do that before?
You could queue with 2 people. That was the extent in Conquest.
Wait, oh shoot! Really?
Now you can queue with one as a solo and go against other solo queuing players. You can queue with one other friend as a party of 2, party of 3, not a party of 4, but a party of 5. So you do run the risk of running into Cowabunga in North American ranked queues, and if you do, honestly, I'm sorry, but enjoy the L. Learn something.
Hey, at least it'll be quick.
At least it'll be quick. Good news is you can just make your challenge kill Paul and see how far you get.
Yeah, I don't think you're winning that challenge.
But no, ranked looks cool. That's launching day 1. The Ascension passes, the grind for gods and stuff that comes with it. That all looks really cool. One thing that's being shown on screen right now for this listing that is interesting about Mordred, you might be wondering, he's a character who goes through walls. But there's a timer on his ultimate. What happens if he's in a wall?
I was about to say, does he die in the middle of the wall?
No,
does he suffocate? Does he asphyxiate?
You go until you're out of a wall, even if your timer runs out.
I wish he asphyxiated instantly and there's a huge dramatic, disgustingly graphic animation for it. That would be really funny.
I do really
his arm
that, though,
sticks out.
Right here in particular, what we just saw, basically for those listening, he kind of just goes a little bit further and uses it. I'm excited to see people play Mordred and use that as a skill ceiling factor of, I'm going to go through a wall and try to time it to get some extra distance closer, close a gap, go through, slow down the fight, take the ADC up into the air, even if I don't kill them. I think it's going to create a lot of interesting dynamics with Mordred.
He looks cool, dude. He does. He also, like you said, it's very similar to Excalibur's Wrath in the sense it's that big bang anime combination. So pretty cool stuff, man. Overall, I feel good. I feel like we're in a good spot here for Smite 2. I feel like the public overall is pretty pleased. Esports are looking cool. Birds are singing.
Yep.
The rats are in the sewers. I don't know. Nature's back. We're back.
I'm not gonna lie, you lost a little bit there.
A little bit.
Like the last part.
Yeah, my bad.
Just a little bit.
It had the heart. Well, I was gonna rage you, but my OBS crashed. So we hear, hello RLSS, joining in for the Smite podcast. We're talking Smite 2, but despite the fact we're talking Smite 2, Rocket League people, we are moving into our next segment, which isn't really Smite specific. This next segment is a new one, and I don't host this one. I get to be a part of this one, so I'm gonna hand it in and then hand it to you, D-Lo. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Dear Agni.
Yay, Dear Agni! Oh, I'm so pleased. Yeah, it's like that graphic. I made that myself.
Picture for it. That's the first time
I made that myself. I made that myself using Snapchat. I'm really happy with it. I think it's pretty good. Look at that.
It's something.
This is Dear Agni. It's an ideal if you've all have heard of course, Dear Abby, famous advice column, and I was just thinking to myself, I was like, man, what god name sounds like Abby? Agni.
Am I too young to have heard of that?
Yes, it's okay.
Is that just an old person thing?
This is the example question,
yes.
by the way. This is not actually our first topic.
Yeah, don't worry. No one submitted
we're
that.
getting in. We are getting into
all right,
this.
all right, we can start off with this. That's fine. No. I say we go down the list honestly real quick. This is interesting stuff. So, pancakes or waffles?
I knew I shouldn't have put this example. I fucking knew it.
No. This is important, dude.
You're gonna pay for this. You're gonna pay for this.
A big proponent of the IHOP Silver $5 as a kid, and still going into adulthood. While waffles can be paired better with savory food such as chicken and waffles, which is a good combination, I'm still gonna stand with pancakes all the way.
Wow. The first person to drop an opinion is pancakes? I'm so used to people like jumping and being like, waffles! Fuck pancakes! And it's just like from there, it's all downhill, and there's no civil discussion.
Well, and speaking of, Kat says, fuck you, D-Lo, so...
Nothing new. Okay, I got a caveat. I got to caveat this, right? Like, up until probably a week ago, I would have been waffles all the way. But then I went to Denny's at 1 a.m. in Vegas.
Oh my god, you were drunk, bro. You were literally drunk.
No one needs to know that. But pancakes,
well,
Denny's 1 a.m. I've never had a better experience in my life as I had at Denny's. I'm agreeing with you, dummy.
Oh, I thought you said waffles.
What are you talking about?
Oh, no, my bad. Okay, I'm with you. I'm sorry.
Up until that experience, it would have been waffles, but it changed my life.
Welcome to the light, buddy. Welcome to the light. You know what? I've always said that when you're drunk, you're your most true self, so it just makes sense.
I'm pretty sure I was messaging you guys just out of my mind.
You absolutely were, bro. You were happy as a clam, though, and there's a reason, because you were dining on some nice pancakes. We got my man Cyril saying, get bro gone, get them gone. You get gone! What are you doing here, stepping in?
Okay, get Dilo gone has been like a consistent theme here.
I have one.
Those are actually
I hate to be the guy who's like, okay, I need further clarification. Are we talking just plain or like ideal scenario?
Any toppings,
I think
any
it's not
form,
fair. It's not
toaster
fair.
waffle, Belgian waffles.
Because ideal scenario, I go pancakes. But plain, like if I get no options and it's just fucking I'm throwing a slop on a plate,
butter and syrup,
then it's waffles. Because I feel like waffles at a base level tend to be better. But if it's pancakes and I can go full on, I can get everything I want, I can do like a strawberry cheesecake pancake, then I kind of fuck with it over waffles. I'm not gonna lie.
Our audience hates us right now.
Everybody woke up.
I was
fuck Smite too. Here's my take on pancakes and waffles.
Do you guys remember like when IHOP would make those themed pancakes?
They still do. I have them.
Yeah. So I wouldn't. Okay, I went to an IHOP like this is like 5 years ago, right? With some of my tennis friends. He orders this like I don't know. It was this weird pancake with like purple frosting, and the frosting was like a light like lavender purple, right? It slid off the pancake. It looked like a freaking oil slick out there. It was so dark purple. The dude immediately. Oh my gosh, dude! Like weird. That might have been what ruined pancakes for me until Denny's brought me back. The limited edition.
That's crazy because Denny's is like worse pancakes if you ask me. If you're being honest, like, chill. Whoa.
No.
Fisher.
To be fair, I'm an IHOP fan.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so we got our test question. You get the idea. It'll be less this or that and more actual advice. So Dilo, please start us off with our first
question. Damn it, man. All right, well, let me just real quick address. Okay, so Kat has clearly got a stance here. Tess is saying pancakes hater as well. All y'all are wrong. And we're on the screen, so y'all gotta deal with it. Sorry.
You got this, Dilo.
Anyway.
You and me to the end, bud.
Okay, we got this. All three of us. I appreciate that we're all standing united here. This is the reason why we all three work as a team. Okay, guys.
Yes.
Let's begin. Dear Agni, once again, little friendly advice column for our friends in the community. It can be about esports, can be about Smite. We will be posting that formula scene. Kat says, Dilo, fuck you when you shit team comp. Oh my god! Okay. The vitriol is insane.
This is also a very important clarifying question. Are we giving serious advice here, or is this lighthearted advice?
I think it depends
on the it depends on the question. You'll be able to tell based on the vibes.
Also,
so don't worry about that.
Well, I put the scenes together, the production together, and everything. I have not read these. I did make the form.
Neither of them
have. I have not read the responses. This is all.
I'm the only one who's read this. I am the only one who's read these, and I'm very pleased because I think that the reactions are gonna be really funny. There's some good ones here. There's some funny ones. There's also some good questions here that are serious. So we'll be taking them all at face value and taking them as they come. Starting off here, Dear Agni, I appreciate those who actually answer with the format. Dear Agni, why do you keep running away from me? I'm just a support with an easily blockable dash. I want to help you. Sincerely, Kepri. Interesting.
Well,
there.
That's an easy answer. I have to hard carry the game. I can't stay near you and win us
Anthony
the
Malum,
elo.
the hard carry.
Asshole.
Honestly,
Maybe you should use Sprint or buy a Blink and get closer and give me Scarab's Blessing.
Ooh, coming at the Kepri players here. And if you're Hydra, maybe you should use the beads that you buy on that Kepri, or just buy a different relic instead.
Fisher, you're
Or Hydra.
Can you send me that question too, D'Lo, so I can put it on screen?
I just sent it in the chat. It's in the chat.
It's in chat.
It's in chat.
Like voice chat. Chat.
Oh, you guys know how to
Some
make
behind
stuff
the scenes
complicated
action.
for me.
Come with
my
the
bad, I'll
times,
DM.
buddy.
No,
Yeah,
it's good.
come on
I got
now.
it now. Now that I know where it is, I got it. Oh, that works.
Fisher,
That
your
doesn't-
advice. Why
that
do
doesn't
Agni
quite
keep
fit.
running away from Kepri? They're just a support with an easily blockable dash. They want to help.
Well, yes, the giant beetle, Tommy. It depends. If the Kepri's on the enemy team, don't run away from him. He just wants a hug. It's not going to be that bad. If he's on your team, yeah, Agni should probably stop running away, because Agni players, I think, don't account a lot of the time for how squishy they are. They're like, oh, I got a long dash, I can run away. No, you can't. Stay with the beetle. The beetle's nice. The beetle saves us.
There you get
The
one
Beatles
pro
got
support
nice warm
comment, and you
arms.
have one antagonist comment.
Which one
There
was
you go.
which?
That makes sense, though. It's the duality of Agni in the first place. See, look at how thematic we are with this, guys. Already off to a roaring
Yes,
start.
Kepri is
I'm
the
happy.
giant beetle for those not Smite savvy.
I just can't wait for the questions where we start yelling at each other. That's what I'm here for.
A good simple start,
ready.
though. It was a real palate cleanser.
That's like
after the
we'll
pancake
start-
waffles debate.
After the pancake one, anything was less vitriolic. Okay, that was
Dude,
toxic. Dear God,
that was a heater, man. That got us started, huh?
Anthony had no idea what
I was just
word
putting
he was
it there
asking
to have
for.
text there, dude.
Dog, you picked the
Jesus
wrong one.
Yeah, you fucked up. Anywho's, next up for Dear Agni. Let's see. This one's nice and simple here. I'm just gonna put it in the chat first, and it's simply, Dear Agni, how does one get into Smite casting?
Oh, okay. We can live with those.
I think Anthony is the default one to turn to here.
I would say that it's actually very easy to get into Smite casting, because there are 1,000,001 amateur leagues. They all are always looking for casters, and that's if you want a league format and production. But my first cast was not for a league. My first cast was in a Skype call with Verbalocity, with me trying to sync my PS4 spectator to his PC spectator, and we just cast Smite until I was a little better. My first public Smite cast was 2017. It was kind of the same thing. I was streaming to a different Twitch. I don't even have the password for anymore. There was one viewer, and I'm pretty sure it was my girlfriend, and I don't even think she was watching. I think she was watching a movie. Just cast. You can do it in any kind of format you want, and then once you're comfortable and you think you're at a point where you want it to be seen, then reach out to one of the amateur leagues. There are a ton. There's some that are more geared towards being more professional, have a bit more viewers. I think like the AGLs, the OSLs, and there's some that still have decent viewers, but are more catered towards new players and entry-level gameplay, where you're not casting super high-level Smite. It's kind of just a fight festival. It's a bit easier.
Mhm.
Those are places I think of things like Frank's Retirement Home. I know Fight Club, Smite League is starting up soon. I also think of EU. You've got Smite Night. You've got Tanukis. And there's way too many leagues to name. And just because I don't name a league doesn't mean it's not bad. Some even pay their casters, like Animosity, Amaterasu's Presence. So it's really just a matter of finding one and then just asking for some invites. And that's something that there's a lot of different ways to come across it. You can honestly, kind of a self-plug, if you join my Discord, there's a lot of league owners and people from those leagues in that Discord. They're always going to give you a link to it. There's kind of a million different ways to get into Smite casting. And I think it's one of the easier places to get into, because there's so many places that need, especially play-by-play casters, so badly.
Yes.
Also, Arrow, what? You said guess
They
what?
like
What?
casters.
We'll pause the whole segment for this what?
We're just waiting for you, Arrowman.
Damn it.
Oh,
no way.
You got chicken butted. You just got chicken butted. You just got chicken butted. L's in chat. L's in chat for Anthony, everyone. L's in chat for Anthony. He just got chicken butted.
Anthony's
Everyone
got the whole
listening from
podcast
Spotify,
demonetized
Anthony
right
just
now.
got chicken butted so hard, wiping their chicken ass across his screen right now.
We already have the
Crazy.
explicit tag on Spotify from one episode. Don't worry.
Fantastic. It will remain
That
so.
seems about right.
We just read like 3 fuck yous from Cat over pancakes. Of course it was going to be like that. What did you expect? Anywho's.
Anyway, next question.
To add, hold on, I do want to add on to that just a little bit.
Please.
Actually, also Fisher, if you have anything, as a C2, different perspectives. Me and Anthony, of course, are shoutcasters, so we understand from that perspective.
I started as a
C2.
No,
You started like
can-
4 seconds. You moonlighted. Fisher's been in the grind since day one. To add on to a little bit of shameless self-plugging for anyone who does look for, and Anthony also does a little bit too, but I know you're obviously a lot more busy now to maybe do so. I run a small series of my own called Crash Course Casting, where if anyone has any VOD review they would love to do, I am happy to do so. Fisher also has been willing to help out with some C2 knowledge since I am not quite as well versed in that. But I definitely got to double down on everything Anthony said and just say, if you like it, do it. Find ways to do it. If you have a different game even that you're looking for as well, find local scenes. Smite, of course, is mostly
shout out all the Rocket League
online
peeps in
right
here.
Mm-hmm. There's hella scenes for everything, and a lot of times we were talking about this recently, like with our own just friend group. But it's a lot of times about connections, as any industry is, which is frustrating sometimes. But everyone here's pretty gosh darn friendly, and we're all pretty gosh darn hurting for some extra talent and hands around here. So at least at this moment, like we mentioned very early on in our podcast, it's a good time to get into it. Anything to add, Fisher?
Yeah, I can try to like add on some C2 specific things. I don't think y'all said C1 specific things, but I think you got the basics covered. But just like the one important piece of advice, if you're a chair 2 looking to get in, and I think this goes for any game, right? Like if you're an analyst and you're trying to cast for a game, you gotta like be entertaining. There's 1,000,001 people that just know all the stats in the game, can read you off like for Smite, whatever Adam does, whatever God does.
Mm-hmm.
There's 1,000,000 people that could just walk into a booth and say that. Just be entertaining, work with your co-casters a lot. Like I think that's a reason I think I'm a pretty good chair 2. I'm biased though. But yeah,
Yes.
I mean my Smite knowledge is worse than some chair 1s. But you know, just working with your co-caster, like trying to analyze the game however you can, like not relying overly on just feeding people endless facts. And I think that goes for C1s too. Just
Cast
be
in a way
entertaining.
you would want to listen to.
Yeah,
Yes.
like you don't have to be the best caster. You don't have to be the most serious caster. Like I doubt anyone here just wants to sit down and just listen to 2 people talk about what's happening in a game exactly. Like, oh, now they're going to the left side. I think they're gonna get killed there. Stuff like that, you know. Like be entertaining, do your own thing. Like bring some like sort of production value to it.
Yeah.
Which is easier said than done, but like that's how you'll stick around and that's how you'll like really get more opportunities and stuff if you find
That's how
some
you
way to
make
stand
your
out.
mark. You want to make
Yeah.
sure you find your own like kind of niche. What are you at the end of the day? What are you as a caster? You bring, and here's the thing also, feedback's important. And if you want to improve, the thing is not everyone in the amateur scene wants to, aspire
The well
for
gets
that
deep
top level.
on casting stuff.
And that's okay. That is so okay. If you're just here for shits and gigs, you enjoy casting, you have a hokey good time, we're here for that. But some people do want to improve. So if you do, you got to distinguish yourself. You have to ask, seek out that feedback, especially I feel like in this art form. And I was talking about this with another caster recently where because casting, it's not just like painting where it's separated from yourself. Yes, of course, people put their soul sometimes into their painting, but casting to a certain extent is an extension of yourself. It's your personality. It is quite literally your voice. So people are not going to be as open to criticism if they're not asking for it. So if you're looking to improve, take that extra step, reach out for it. People will give it to you almost 90% of the time. If you ask for something, someone might have a tip for you. And that's at the end of the day, because we spend our entire lives listening to our voice, it requires outside perspective to improve.
Yeah,
God knows that I've gotten hella tips from these 2 people right next to me, and I wouldn't necessarily have understood that stuff. I used to speak like a fucking motor mouth, and I wouldn't have recognized that even looking at my own videos without someone telling me. So, reach out. Look for feedback. Use your people around you as resources. That's definitely some key stuff.
I'm sure it's
Thank
not
you
going
for
to be
that
the last
submission.
question about casting either.
Absolutely not. But that's okay. We're here for that. We're the casters.
Hey,
we're
it's
the
kind of
podcasters.
our thing, yeah.
It's a given. So thank you for that question. Hopefully Agni gave you some hot takes back. Here's the next one. Dear Agni, lately I've been having issues with my time as a competitive player. I have found that most teams consistently take advantage of my kindness. I can get passed around a lot, and sometimes almost the majority of my division doesn't take me seriously. Because of all this, I have stepped away from the competitive scene as a player. What advice, if any, do you have for me? Sincerely, Sobek. Well, Sobek, I'm really sorry to hear that, but I'd like to toss it over to you guys. Agni, what do you think?
Well, this is a lot for me to type in and get set up on screen, so I'm going to tag Fisher to go first.
Go ahead, other head of Agni.
I mean, please continue giving like longer questions like that. I just want to make sure I get the whole thing in there.
Yeah, I can go ahead and take a first crack at it. I mean, the first thing is, if you stepped away as a competitive player, the first thing to do is figure out if you want to come back, like if you like playing it or not, or if you don't. Because sometimes like the joy just leaves stuff, right? Like that's natural to sometimes not like stuff anymore. So it's not like entirely uncommon. But if you just got out of it because you don't like how other people are treating you or like what's going on with that stuff, just keep trying to find new teams and stuff. Because if you still want to, if you still want to play, you're gonna still keep looking. You're gonna look for different teams. Or if people take advantage of your kindness, just make your own team. Like try to be a captain in a league, like especially if it's something like a draft league. Just be active in chat, show owners you can have your own team, and then people won't take advantage of you. They can't. You're the owner, so they can't do that then. That'd be pretty lit. But yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing is just figuring out. Sorry, it's just figuring out if you still want to play or not.
Zoomers,
I think that'd probably be step one. Sorry, I'm not good at giving advice. I'm like the wrong.
No, that was good. That was good.
Segment. I guess I am half.
I definitely agree with Fisher on a lot of that. I also, so maybe D'Lo and I share a similar perspective of neither of us play competitive anything. I mean, I have in the past, not to brag, but I've won multiple Guitar Hero LAN competitions.
You literally just bragged.
So,
not to brag.
Anyway,
but I'm kind of
now that I've addressed that elephant in the room, by elephant I mean the size of my trophies I don't have. It's tough because that can happen. I've seen that happen a lot to a lot of different people for a multitude of different reasons. But if the competitive scene isn't for you as a player and you stepped away, consider getting into other aspects. Consider getting into, yes, the elephant goddess Ganesh. Consider getting into things like administration work, into tournament organization work. There's moderation work, which leagues are always looking for. And then from the end of things I know the most about, production work and casting work. Because honestly, you know, if you can do that, if you grind that out, it can get you a new love for the scene. That might make you feel a little more comfortable going into those leagues and those places. And people won't take the same kind of advantage of you because they probably would know you. And if they do, you can just simply go back to casting. You don't have to be a player if you don't want to be. And if you don't want to do production or casting, but you really want to be a player, you just want to find your way back in, I think what Fisher said is probably the best thing, you know? Take it as seriously as you want to. Do a pre-made team with some friends, even, or be a captain of a draft league, but grab some buddies, even if you guys aren't great. Enter a couple tournaments, enter some bring your own team tournaments. Enter things like, you know, relegation for AGL, play a game. Yeah, even that. Enter enter the Smite 2 open bracket and just play a game or two. It's random seeding for the beginning, so you don't know who you're going to go up against, and it'll be a good experience of just having some fun with it. Doesn't matter how far you go, just do it for the fun of it. You know, do it for the love of the game, and make the most of it. Don't let yourself be a stepping stone for anybody, for sure, especially in an amateur scene, because 90% of the people in the amateur scenes are made up of people who, you know, like, this is their second thing they do. They've got full-time jobs, full-time lives, some have kids, and this is the second thing they do. So nobody's better than you. You're not better than anyone yourself. You're all equal playing field. So, you know, do whatever makes you the happiest.
Yeah.
And also $300,000. Don't forget the prize pool for Smite 2.
Thank you, Victoria, for reminding us of that. It's very important as well. You can at that point, it doesn't matter what anyone's telling you. It doesn't matter if they're taking advantage of you. It doesn't matter if they're being mean to you because you're just richer than them, and you can just say, "Hey, look at this."
Yeah.
Make it rain on them, like Agni himself. To add on to that, Sobek, yeah. It's definitely a rough beat when you have people just kind of knocking down on you. I think especially in the gaming community, here's the thing. I love casting. I love this stuff. We all love this stuff. There's the caveat that the gaming community, it's got a toxic side to it. It does. That's genuinely my friends that are from home, that are outside of this all, because not many of my friends are actually gamers from my university, from my home life. I'm like, I love what I do so much, but the industry that I exist in, the environment, it can wear down on you because the people in it aren't always the nicest. Especially when, and this happens in anything that's competitive, your value as a person is taken as your ability in the skill itself. They don't acknowledge you as someone with three-dimensional qualities. You don't assess the other facets of that person. What can you offer me and my team?
You're not Anthony, you're not Anthony Joseph. You're Anthony Malum.
You're 0-8. You're 0-8.
You're fucking. You're 0-21 on Naja.
Yeah, and you're ruining my game. Exactly. So the key is surrounding yourself with people who have that same mentality as you. Whether it be, like you said, Anthony or Fisher, finding that team around you, being a captain, and just building your squad of people who are just going to be shit and don't really give a crap about it. Or going to a league that generally has that less competitive vibe. I think of Frank's retirement home. I think of those leagues that are a bit more silly. That's where you want to go. It's about making the environment that you want to see around you, because that takes some activity. You're not gonna change one person. One crocodilian god can't change the entire gaming meta, unfortunately. No matter how much you might lurk in the waters, no matter how much you might charge your prey, there's always going to be someone else who's saying, you're the greatest, you rock, cancel that. So try to find the people around you who make you feel good, who prop you up, and play with them. If you want to continue playing at all, like Fisher said, it all depends on what you want to do in the first place. Yeah. Fisher with a sneeze of agreement.
And that's ultimately your choice to make.
Thank you for catching.
I know Fisher and I, our competitive careers consisted of me chasing him to Phoenix when we played against each other in a competitive setting. I have to mention that at least every couple months. Come on.
Impressive
stuff.
You don't.
Hey, I played competitive SMITE longer than you, buddy. I don't have any accolades to show for it because I sucked. But
so for our next question, just for context for those listening who can't read chat, we had a challenge come through for 5,000 points. If you watch these live, you can potentially redeem those points. We have a casting challenge. Example, cast super fast. Dead Girl Walking redeemed it for 5,000 points. Hashtag my girlfriend said, shoutcast one of your Dear Agni answers. Whoever's feeling feisty.
Gonna have to make sure that's a
suggested Dilo shoutcast the question because I thought that'd be kind of fun.
Sounds like a plan. Dear my team, please do some fucking damage. Sincerely yours, a very angry Solo.
That was the perfect one.
Anyway, that's coming off the screen in a bit. So, guys, one, not addressed to Agni. I think that got lost in the mail. That's addressed to your team. We can't really get that to them.
The team.
What a use of 5,000 points,
maybe there's an Agni on the team. Fisher, you're right. So, what's our advice here, guys?
I mean, like most baseline advice, because first off, that's valid. Some teams don't do damage. Some teams just suck, and you got to live with that.
Yeah.
But if your team isn't doing damage, as a solo, or for you as a solo laner, just play to their speed. If they suck, just stay back with them. Because if you keep playing like you're expecting them to do stuff and expecting them to do damage, all that's happened is you're going to get killed, and they're going to get killed, and you're going to lose, and you're going to rage. So don't do that.
Yeah, try to find a problem.
If that doesn't work, that doesn't work, eat some goldfish crackers.
Yeah, eat some goldfish crackers, dive the back line, whichever order you prefer. Your greasy orange fingers on your mouse will make you turn it faster.
Aw, that's horrible. Only if it's like the flavor blast.
But no, if they're not doing damage, I mean, if they're not doing damage at one point, they're not going to do damage most likely at any point, especially if it's ranked as opposed to like a competitive setting. So you just got to do your job as many times as you can and just try to push that as far as you can go. You know, it's like, I mean, as a solo laner, odds are you're playing somebody tankier, you're probably not building damage. You just got to keep diving the back line. Don't change your playstyle too much to accommodate for somebody who's feeding their brains out. Just play your game as much as you possibly can. Play with the team. Try to make objective calls. If no one's answering VGS, then you're kind of stuck being that sheep herder going around following them. It's just kind of the nature of what ranked Smite is. You can only really control yourself, but that's, one big thing you can do is winning out the laning phase. The more you win your laning phase, the more you don't have to worry about your team doing damage because you can just travel around and get them ahead. So keep that in mind too.
Good advice on both parts. I mean, I personally have a record of beef with solo laners, so I'm going to ask you, have you looked inward? Have you considered that you might be the problem? Maybe it's
I was
you.
gonna say you might want to switch your role queue, and that'll solve a lot of it.
Maybe it's you who needs to do some fucking damage, huh? Get your numbers up. Have you ever thought about that, writer, viewer? Sorry. Anyway.
Antagonizing the people riding.
I'm fucking
Dude,
around.
Well, great use of 5,000 cutie points.
Oh my god. No, thank you for sending that in. That's actually very funny. I really appreciate the mix of. We got some good comedic ones. It's like the Agni skin itself. It's tragedy, it's comedy, it's everything and more. Victoria says I have 19k more to use. LOL. That's
Sounds
scary.
like you got 3 more shoutcasts.
And also, thank you guys for the follows on the live portion. Again, if you want to see these live, twitch.tv/Anthony Malm. We do them live every time we record them, and a lot are going to be coming out with the Smite 2 esports launch. So make sure you're there. Thank you for following tonight and hopping in, everybody. Appreciate you. Don't worry, there's more Dear Agni left. I think there's a lot left, so we got plenty of room.
We could get, dude. This spreadsheet goes deep,
Fortnite,
and again, no, you won't. You need to give it good advice.
No, you won't. You will not be playing Fortnite on this night.
I have to buy a skin. I have to buy a skin today.
What skin
gotta get in there. One of the Alpine Aces. The skiers.
I don't know what that means.
You're
It's a
excited to
skier.
get on Fortnite to buy a skier?
Yeah, what are you doing, bro? Oh,
so
shit.
little. So little.
Okay.
That's why he doesn't know what Bumble is.
Huh?
Clearly not. Someone's gonna get on the Smite 2 grind. What are hold on, we got the next one coming up here. Dear Agni, what are some good ADC builds at the moment with the new bonus patch? Practical, simple.
Hey, thank God we
and
got a
not
chair
at
2
all-
here, huh?
Not at all my wheelhouse. So you guys take it away.
You got the one chair 2 that every single game asks you guys, what do I build on this character?
That is so
okay,
rude.
I can actually try with this one. There's like a couple different ADC builds out there right now. Like if you want crit, ability damage seems to have gone away a bit, but I think like my favorite current one is the auto attack one, where you'll go. I could be butchering this by like 1 or 2 items, but I think it's like leather cowl, which you'll upgrade to leader's cowl. Then you want to take Aussie, and then somewhere you want like executioners, kin size, oboe, and I think Titan's Bane is still the last item. Yeah, I don't know. I might be an item or 2 off, but always what was my go-to, if you want to find good builds for the new patches, either watch like pro streamers, like either on Twitch or when they upload their YouTube videos. All of them will normally like have an item guide in the beginning of their thumbnails when you do that. Or if you like amateur leagues, just turn on a high division game in an amateur league. Those players know what they're doing. Even if they're trolling a bit sometimes, like they know what they're doing.
Yeah, just turn on a Creek game in OSL, and that's how you get your builds.
Sure ain't.
Yeah, there is
Anthony,
a couple.
You're actually a carry man yourself. Yeah, what you got?
There's you can. I like the Cowls build into an early Rage that goes into Demon Blade, Deathbringer. I'm a fan of that
one's
build.
not bad.
I like crit at the moment. I think crit's fun. There's always tried and true if you're rocking a Charybdis and you want to just build attack speed. I feel like you can do that.
Yep.
In terms of build sites, I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of do what
Most
Fisher
of
just
them are
mentioned. I've always just gone to videos. Like if I have taken a break
Weekend
from playing and I
videos.
needed to see like an ADC build, or what I've actually done most recently. I don't play jungle.
Yeah.
I play ADC, but when I had to play jungle recently, I was like, I have no idea what the fucking build. What's good right now? I go to adapting. I kind of just go to the most recent video of a similar character. If it's like I need an ability, I'll go look at an ability character and fast forward to the end and kind of see an idea. In terms of build sites, I've never really used one. I've always wished Smite had something similar to like a Blitz GG from League of Legends, where it's a little bit cleaner and less intrusive because a lot of the websites are out of date. I know. I know Delo's shill favorite streamer Weekend recently updated. I forget which build site is Weekend's, but he recently updated it. I don't use it.
Like
so
Smitefire?
I think it's Smitefire.
Smitefire.
I don't use it,
is.
so that could be true. I know a lot of people started using pro Smite builds due to the absence of SPL, so you probably will get a good quantity on pro Smite builds. That'd be the only advice I could give there. Because like I said, I do what Fisher does. I go to pro videos that go to adapting. I usually go to adapting, Zapman,
Pandacat's
Venenu,
good.
Pandacat's
Final K.
also good, and Final K, yeah.
Z-Tan.
Yeah, the only big problem
Dude
with the
said
websites.
Z-Tan, my goat.
Yeah, the
Smite
big
source,
problem
thank
with the
you. Thank you,
website
Glacier.
too is like on some of them. I don't know if it's on all of them because they're all a bit different. Like anyone can post on there, and for a lack of better words, most people don't have any fucking idea what they're doing with the builds. So that's why I wouldn't trust a website. Like go to a pro's video. At least you know what they know what they're going to be doing. And the other thing is make sure it's customized to gods. Like with ADCs specifically, like if you're building like an ability build on like I don't know, I can't even think of one right now, like a non-ability hunter. What? That's a okay.
Wait, you said you're building an ability build on a non-ability hunter, so he gave you a non-ability hunter. He said Rama.
He said Raw.
Rom.
Oh.
He said Rom.
Oh, I didn't hear Rom. I thought you said Raw. I'm like, yeah, dude.
He went technical name on a
way to pronounce it.
Yeah, he went technical term on a late night podcast, and he caught you slacking.
Actually.
Oh my gosh! Don't actually me, dude. But yeah. That's definitely a side tangent. But yeah, just watch YouTube. That's all you gotta do.
Smite Source is what we're being told in the chat is actually Weekend's website. Okay, good to know. Not Smite. I swear to God it was Smite.
Makes a Delo's
They
recommendation.
both have Smite and .com in the name, so they're both the same.
Exactly. No difference in my mind. Can't even tell. Glasses off. All right, guys. Next question we got up here. This is a time-sensitive one, so it's important that I bumped this one up. Dear Agni, my D&D character died this past session. Give me an idea for a new character.
I love this.
Okay,
I need to.
Real quick, I'm not going to answer the question first. I'm just going to, condolences. I have a very strong feeling this is Stoomps from OSL.
I think it might be Tess.
Oh, if it's Stoomps,
it's one of the two.
He's going to love my answer.
And it could be either one of them, and I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I've been in like a grand total of 3 D&D campaigns just for like a few weeks at a time. Every single time I've tried to get the DM to go along with just a sentient squid. Doesn't do anything, no magic powers, just a squid or an octopus just running around like wielding an axe, just
so like, you're Octodad.
That's all I want. No, not even. I just want to be a squid or an octopus. Not the special. I'm not a dad. I'm just an octopus.
I'm not a dad. I'm just a humble octopus. Okay,
I mean, they got big brains, so you could be like super psychic or something, but be an octopus. Yeah, I am.
Make one of us. Make a shoutcaster. Make like a bard, but they're just loud as fuck. They're not actually like an entertaining, angelic bard. They walk.
They don't
in the
even
room.
buff you.
Yeah, they don't. They just walk in the room.
They
and
just
they're
commentate
like,
the fight.
That guy's got a bow and arrow. He just put his fucking arrow on fire. If he shoots it, you're gonna take 10 points of damage. Get the fuck out of the way.
No, it's like a death metal bard.
I actually really do like the idea of a caster bard who doesn't contribute to the fight but casts it, and like they're literally casting as their team goes down.
They're sitting like
the goblin going in for 10 points of damage. The goblin kills down the warrior. Barbarian's taken out. That's a deicide.
I'd love if like one of your parties like trying to be all sneaky.
Beholder.
Oh, here goes the archer around the right flank. Just
pick up the bomb.
The beholder gets a pentakill.
That actually would be a lot of fun. Okay, bardic caster character. What's his name?
Got all the new ideas. Anthelo. That sounds mystical.
King Dallum.
King Dallum?
King Dallum, but he's got no lineage. He says he's a king. He's got no crown, no lineage. He just says, "Oh, I'm King Dallum. Nice to meet you."
Exactly. That's a good one.
Alrighty. Thank you very much for that question, loyal viewer, and hope that you are feeling okay after losing your character. I hope that wasn't a long session. I've played only one D&D session, but it was in Spanish, and I sucked. It was like, it's so hard without like having the vocabulary like to understand what's going on. What I did for my character to like get over the language barrier. I said that my character's dad was racist and kept me like caged in, so he wouldn't let me speak the common tongue. I can only speak my half dragon language.
What?
That's so
it worked out pretty well. Like, I think that was a pretty smart way to tie in my inability to speak fluent like dragon Spanish, and thus I was able to like get away with it kind of. I was not
so
good
bad
at
for all my teammates when I played that. I was the one that just punched everything. I didn't really do a whole lot of critical thinking when I played that game. Which is how it's fun for me. I don't know if it was fun for everyone
that is
else,
fun. That does sound like fun,
for
honestly.
me.
All right, guys. This one's fun, speaking of. Dear Agni, who is the hottest god in Smite? Well, obviously Agni himself. He's quite literally on fire. But aside from that, guys, what do we got?
Sorry, Victoria's accidentally banning people from chat when we get on that while you guys talk about
Victoria!
Please tell me she banned like the person that asked the last Glacier? No.
She banned Glacier?
The OG Dilo hater? Nah, get it back in. Get it back in.
It's okay.
Didn't she just get mod privileges today?
I'll take the hottest. I'll take the hottest god in my question.
Victoria, what the fuck?
Is there another mod who's around who has mod view that can get Glacier out of the depths, please? Thank you. Anyway, who's the hottest god in Smite? Soul! Epsilon Soul!
Raw.
Epsilon Soul!
Okay.
Raw is the
I
power of the
want
sun,
to
man.
be
There's nothing
stepped
hotter
on
than the sun.
and burned to a damn crisp by Epsilon Soul.
Somebody turn Malum's volume down.
Yeah, can someone? He's scaring me, guys. Let's see. I gotta look at the Smite God list real quick.
This one's
actually.
been a long time coming, apparently. I said Raw. He's got the power of the sun, man. The sun burns hotter.
I'm good.
All
Than
right,
anything
come on,
else.
Fish.
No,
Come
I'm copping out.
Fish.
I'm not even dignifying
wow.
that one.
Okay. All right. Fine. Let me.
I'll
partial.
cop out. I'll cop out.
I'm personally partial to the. I like the pixie cut that Bologna's got going. Bologna might just get my vote. Hold on. Scrolling down. Scrolling. 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 Scrolling.
No Sasano mention?
Sasano's hot. Okay. Well, hold on a second.
Aphrodite.
If we're talking about, let's go back. No, let's go back the other way here. Let's give some love there to our people who are into the masculine persuasion. If we're gonna go with that, Hercules, I feel like is
Okay,
not
I've been
actually
staring
that
at
attractive.
Agni's arm like this whole segment.
Like I honestly, I kind of think Kronos is like kind of an underrated sleeper pick. He's like the silver hair. He's actually low key
That's crazy.
pretty
Kat.
attractive. No, like, am I wrong here? He's got like the chiseled jaw. Wait, what? Am I
His
bugging
skin
here?
is like.
We're not reading it
Well,
out
doesn't he
loud, but
look like
but you
dead?
can read what Kat said in
Yeah,
chat. Don't
that's-
read that
hold
one
on.
out loud.
Hold on. That is
I'm sorry,
crazy.
listeners. This one we're not reading out loud.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You have to check to the VOD for that one or the YouTube.
That's crazy. Anywho,
Yikes. Anyway,
Older, man.
Chronos,
Older's cool.
chiseled jaw.
I like Older.
I will say, okay, we can acknowledge at least part of it. Ishtar, yes, Kat is a good pick.
yeah,
Ishtar
Kat
is very
suggested
attractive
a
as well.
new seating arrangement for Ishtar.
Yes,
Leave it
she
at that.
wants her to sit in the front of the class instead of the back of the class.
Yes.
And that's very nice, so she can pay more attention and learn her lessons. Okay. Anyone else here that we want to look at? Let's Poseidon obviously is like, well, okay, let's get non-traditional here maybe. Like Demon King Ravana. Like, yeah, his skin's like blood red, but I don't know, I kind of like the mustache, the flowing braids.
Delo's
Also
into some crazy
Shiva.
shit we're learning.
Dude,
I'm
this
giving
is
us
literally
options
just
here.
a question designed to alienate me. That's all it is.
You could have participated. You decided not to. This is on you.
My
You wanna
whole
pick-
shtick is not participating in stuff like this.
You can pick you can pick Surtur, pick Sol, pick every god that has something that goes on. Wait, no, Vulcan, obviously. Beads in a backshot.
What's the opinion
Next.
on Horus? What do you mean?
It's a bird. What?
Bro, what are you talking about?
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a top.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I guess it has to be.
So sure.
Hold on, I'm just trying to think about this as a
We
Yeah, I
gotta
guess
move
not,
on
'cause-
before we all get canceled. Y'all.
No,
This
no,
is-
no, no. Hold on. Let's think about this quickly. Let's go to Horus's abilities. Let's go to Horus's abilities and see how this would
What?
play out. Hold on.
How does that have anything to do with the topic?
Because kit matters. Kit matters. Okay.
No, it
let's see.
doesn't.
Yes, it does. Updraft.
It's not the size of the kit. It's
Fracture.
how you use it.
See, here's the thing. This is the point I'm making. This is the point I'm making.
Okay,
so,
Kuchira.
Horus.
That's my answer.
Whale.
Horus. What? Stop. You're not gonna free your Willy on Free Willy. Calm down. Fracture
No way you just said that. That's
is an
crazy.
ability name, right? Like, if he's a
fracture
top,
my
like
fucking
that,
skull.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that sounds painful. I personally am not like down to be like brutally battered like this. Wait, hold on. But he has a protector's surge afterwards, which is kind of sweet. Okay, maybe
Oh God.
We're maybe onto something here.
I'm gonna duck out of the frame for the rest of this one.
Okay, we can move on. It's fine. Anthony's having a stroke. Victoria, your boyfriend might die. And the last thing you said to him was, "Sorry, I banned your friend." How do you feel about that?
Okay, next dear Agni. Next dear Agni.
Next year, Agni. Next year, Agni. Hold on, let's take a look. See here. Got some good ones. Okay, let's take this one. This one we can get back to Earth just a little bit here. Okay, dear Agni, what's the best way to shock call as a jungler and have my team listen to the calls I make? Is Fisher gone?
I think he's dead. So,
Back, I'm back. Questions in the
okay.
frame here.
I flirt with people on my team. I'm not saying it's effective. I'm just not saying
Alright.
it's ineffective either. But I'm very flirty. on teams that I'm on. Anyone who's ever played at least like 2 games with me can vouch with that I get very flirty on one of those. Strats that I've made it to one of these. Yeah, if you do your acting, you can be included. Welcome in, Strat. I think it honestly, I've watched a lot of ranked streams. I haven't grinded rank in years at this point, and I feel like a common theme that I see is the least confrontational your message can be. If you actually want your call to be listened to, that's probably the only way it's going to happen. Even that smidge bit of hostility, if that's picked up on by your teammates, it's going to turn into a 2009 Call of Duty lobby real fucking quick.
Yeah, I think as far as, like, I'm assuming you're just saying this, like, playing in casuals with a random stack, because, like, if this is with a comp team, that's a whole different problem, but just, like, be sparing with your calls, I think. Like, if you're calling out, like, gank this, enemy missing here, like, every 10 seconds or something, everyone's gonna stop listening. Like, you just gotta, like, be conservative with it. Like, don't try to, like, call out every small thing or every small gank opportunity. Just, like when you need to call out, make the calls. And I think they'll listen a lot better to if you're just kind of spamming them.
I also think, like, I don't know, I really am out of my depth here, but just imagine, like, just psychological dynamics of what you want to listen to. Tone. Yeah. Tone genuinely is important. Like, be nice about it. You can be stern, you can be urgent without necessarily letting that creep into your tone and sound like you're commanding someone. At the end of the day, we're all 5 members of the team working together, so try to make it sound like it's something we're working together on rather than something I'm commanding you to do. Yeah, you're the shot caller. It does not necessarily make you better than me. It does not necessarily put you above me. Yes, you have an important role on the team. Don't let that inflate your head. Don't let that separate and alienate you or other members from your team.
You can tell we're casters by how, like, nice our takes are, you know?
Well, like, because, yeah, we've never been on... If Z-Tan were here, oh, boy, would it be a different story. Oh, shit, hold on a second. Chat saying, Glacier returns from the Shadow Realm to tell us the good word. The D&D one was me, by the way. Thank you for the idea. I was already thinking Bard. I might actually go with that caster idea.
Hell yeah.
You will be...
I'm a little offended
no one will like you, but it'll be funny. And
it'll be very
please
funny.
let us know how it goes. Please let us know how it goes. I really hope that your team loses the first team fight. It would be so funny.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
he's casting fireball.
He misses. He shit. What a terrible die roll. That one. How do you do that? Oh my god. Awesome. Okay. Ooh, this one is a specific one. We actually have a person here taking the anonymity out of it. That's okay. We'll take that.
Oh.
Hi, Agni. It's Jay Turner here.
Oh, wow.
And I need some advice from Mr. Swagny himself. Often in the endgame, I struggle surviving dives in the jungle around FG. So basically, the pimp ends up getting pimp slapped. Rough. So my question is, how do I better survive these dives without fully abandoning my team while simultaneously doing damage to provide value to the team fight? So instead, I can be the one pimp slapping the enemy team's booty. Thanks, Jay Turner.
Thanks, Jay Turner.
I mean, yeah, assuming like you're getting dives in the jungle, stay around your support. That way you can keep doing damage and they can help you. But always prioritize surviving. If you have to abandon your team, if you can't do damage, that's always fine. As long as you live, you can go help the team after you heal up, after you get out of that. But short answer, stay with your supports. Even if they're not, like, in a position you like, they'll keep you alive unless they're just bad. In which case, start yelling at them immediately and letting them know how bad they are. But no, just stay by supports.
I think
that's also good advice, April.
If you're trying to avoid getting pimp slapped and continue to be the pimp, then you really need to stand firm, raise your hand, then take your and then once you do that, it's really important you fall back. You're gonna back to base, item store, open it up, you know, refresh, check your damage numbers, go back, take out and you'll win.
I feel so bad for everyone listening that could not see, like, the vigorous motions and energy.
He was thrusting his arm back and forth. I didn't like that cane at all.
It became a stabber.
Okay.
Definitely.
Back to you, Dilo.
Thanks, Jay Turner. Aprilis said, as an Aries said to me in a ranked game, die slower. And as me and Fisher would say, don't die. Good advice.
That's
there.
Like, yeah, that goes back to mine. Just don't die. It doesn't matter if you have to run away or if you don't do damage. Just don't die. You're more
And
useful
Glacier-
alive than you are dead.
Absolutely. Glacier saying just don't die. Anytime a little squishy starts the fight, don't start that fight because it will go bad. And if they can start the fight by affecting you, you're out of position. That's a fair point. So make sure that maybe wait for some cooldowns to be expended. Wait for them to already have a target. And that way, once you enter the fight, if you're going to enter the fight once it's already begun, okay, if they switch targeting to you, there might be one member who doesn't quite get the memo. They might start to trip over their own comms, and thus they might already be distracted on the Kakolan who's diving their back line. So keep your distance, wait for the fight to get started, and then you can start breaking the party.
And remember,
back to
you
them.
are mother Swagney.
He fucking loves the
Way to,
censor
like,
bar, bro.
giggle
My
in the
microphone
middle
like
of that
exploded
one,
during
like-
that one, dude.
It did.
Yeah,
It really did. Oh my god. Thank you, Jay Turner, for that submission. We appreciate
Love
you,
you,
buddy.
Jay
Hope
Turner.
that the advice helps. Really appreciate it. Okay. I think we're going to start winding down here, and it's going to be my favorite. I've read
Okay.
this to, I think, 5 people now,
Oh,
and I have not been able to get through it without laughing. Let's see if I can do it this time.
Now you're gonna make
So-
me laugh. Why do you?
No,
do that?
it's really difficult for me. I love this one so much. Okay. Dear Agni, I have a real problem. I wake up in the morning, shower, go to work, and come home to unwind with a nice peaceful game of ranked. However, in these games, I sometimes find my teammates' performance to be lackluster. But my issue doesn't arise from a lack of MMR, but rather that I get a lot of satisfaction from being quite rude to these players. I know it isn't right, and that my 1 in 14 ADC simply cannot help that he's bad, and I should try to help him. But once I hear the sound of a spam ping on the speed buff, it almost triggers a reflex in my brain to call him a 3-fingered hobgoblin, among other things. I've tried muting, but even still I cannot overcome the toxicity inside my soul once I witness a Thoth dash into 4 people. How do I cure this? Any advice would be appreciated.
Stop playing ranked.
yeah. Start casting.
Don't call people 3-fingered hobgoblins.
So here, the
while
first thing you're gonna
casting.
do is you're
You'll
gonna
be out the door immediately.
Anthony!
comedies in threes.
Anthony's on a wardle.
Guys, there's someone who needs our
No.
I
advice
have a
badly.
real problem. I wake up in the morning,
I
shower,
gave
go
you
to
the
work, and
advice.
then I come home and I just have
Can
depression.
I say, the moment I saw that
Normal.
first line,
Not
the
good
moment I saw
advice,
them say,
Kat.
I wake up in the morning, shower, go to work, and come home to wine, I knew this was going to be a banger.
Gotta have my bowl. Gotta
instantly.
have cereal.
It reminded me immediately of all like the shit posts or copy pastas. Those were the ones
Yes.
I made when Anthony was starting cast.
Delo's gone
Oh,
blurry
God.
as a side note.
Yeah, Juan, I'm fixing it.
So while you're fixing it, we get to first of all, Smite player showering. I mean, get real.
Yeah,
That's
that's
how we
not
know
real.
he's-
That's how I knew
that's
this
how we
shit was
know they're
bullshit.
lying.
You're right.
How do you handle the 3? I said it earlier, but I'm standing by it because it kind of works for me. I flirt with people. Like, if somebody's flaming me in a game, 9 times out of 10, I call them kitten and say, like, what do you need me to do? What can I do to make you happy? And they fall apart. Their mental shatters before they can get to me. And it's never
Don't
failed
gotta do a
me.
Voice with it.
I could. Want me to do it again?
Here's the thing.
Not
It
really.
sounds like our loyal viewer is not saying that toxicity from others is the problem, but rather that they are the monster. How do they quench the demon inside their own soul?
Disconnect your mic.
They've
once
tried
you
muting.
just no, that's different. Disconnect your mic, and once you just yell at a PC monitor for long enough where no one responds, you'll realize like what you're doing, and then you'll never do it again.
So this person is the bully.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay. I think the best
They called
way...
him a 3-fingered hobgoblin. You know they're the protagonist? You know they're the hero of the story?
Assuming you
know,
don't already,
that is a pretty insane.
assuming you don't already,
insult. I like that one.
sign up for Crete. So at least you fit in.
Oh.
Wow.
Ooh.
I love Crete. I can make those jokes. I get along with Crete better than anybody. Those are my people.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know,
Call-
just
call
like
him the
It'd
to,
be
Crete
really
whisperer.
funny if this person is Crete.
to like just like to somewhat give it like an somewhat even an air of like seriousness. If you like genuinely, if you're feeling toxic and you want to get help, there's a place for that. Like you actually should go.
Do you want me to share the name of my
Sounds like-
therapy counseling clinic? Like what?
Yeah, BetterHelp. This episode of Late Night Smite is sponsored by BetterHelp.com. Second episode in, we're
I
already
mean,
pulling
like,
in those big rankings.
If it was a serious answer, I would just say like if you're gonna be critiquing people, if you're being toxic left and right, you better be pretty fucking good at Smite. Like, you better back up your shit talk in the game.
Back that shit up.
If you're not 24-2, I don't want you yapping. But if you're 24-2 and you want to yap at me, then fine. I'm your kitten for that moment. That's gonna get clipped.
Stop calling yourself a kitten.
That's
man.
gonna get clipped. If
Dude,
SK
that's
Peso's
that man,
around, his
clearly.
fucking senses are tingling right now.
That's a rough look.
Okay. And to give it like the jokingness it does deserve, like, just keep at it, I'd say. Like, you sound hilarious.
Feels like keep being a fucking hater.
Yeah, like, honestly, be a menace. I play Pokemon Unite games with Aprilis is in the chat all the time, and this is kind of like what she exactly is. This is the exact experience of playing top lane with Aprilis as your carry, where she will just ruthlessly flame someone for, clearly trying to get the game. But they
it's so funny hearing you two play that game because you're so like unlike how you are in any other situation.
Then you're gonna take you're gonna take and you're gonna put
Anthony,
it on the
motherfucker.
How did that one not get bleeped? I think your sensor is not.
I
working.
can't control Delo's
this is-
bleeps.
It's not consistent, Anthony. Anthony clearly is not sharing the love here with the technology. He's hoarding all the sensor buttons for himself. We got to get on this wave. Okay.
It's only one
Thank
casting
you.
one?
Thank you, loyal viewer, for your suggestion. This had me rolling.
That was so funny. That was so good.
I called my brother to share it with him, and he was dying to.
That's
so,
great.
like, thank you. He doesn't even play Smite.
We
so
can do like one or
thank
two
you.
more if you want to do maybe two more.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. For our new friends who just are getting the format.
Yeah.
So once again, guys, Dear Agni is the format. It's an advice column where
Yes,
you
he did, Tess.
can.
He
Tess
did- he
asked me
did
to
laugh.
do
Just a
last thing
little.
on the
Just
show.
a little.
Yeah, a little. I've managed to contain myself a bit more. When I said it with Tess, I told Tess ahead of time, and I was not able to get through it. Anyway, this is a advice segment for silly stuff like you see on screen, but also some serious stuff. We covered what you do when someone is just not listening to your shock calls, what you do when people are just not treating you with kindness in the competitive scene, how to get better at casting, how to enter that scene as well, and much, much more. So feel free to check back at the earlier segments. We've been doing this for quite some time. We have some good ones. Hottest Smite God. Ooh, also pretty good. It's had some spicy stuff. Pancakes versus waffles debate. There's a lot of good stuff to check out. But let's
Almost the most fun.
continue on.
We need more questions that pit us against each other.
So we were all on the same side. It was the chat that was
No, we
against
weren't.
us. We were all
I
Oh,
said
Anthony did come to our side.
he said
Yeah, I
pancakes.
forgot.
bring out the sensor bar. Get him, Anthony.
listen.
No.
Yo, get shit on. All right, nice. Anyway,
Crazy.
next one. We talked about them this a little bit. Anthony touched on this. Dear Agni, which Crete players could beat you in a fight and why? Or no, sorry, could you beat in a fight? Ooh, far better. Could you beat
Ooh.
in a fight and why?
Okay, see, look. I'm
Hold
not
on.
usually
Would
one to
beat you-
be.
We can go both. Hold on, Anthony. We got to reverse it. It's would you beat in a fight?
Well, so here's what I'm going to say about me, okay?
Okay.
I got a great relationship with Crete. But there's a cult role in OSL, and a lot of fucking Crete players have it. So I'm just going to say I wouldn't fight anybody in Crete because, like, I don't know if I want to give in to that for
I'm
them.
looking at rosters
Like,
right now.
I don't really
Hold on.
think that I want to give them that
Can we see
opportunity
chat
to
drop
roll
names?
around in the
Chat
mud
drop
with
some
me.
names.
Like,
Chat, drop some names of people who need to be humbled. Let's see what we got. We need some Crete names here real quick. I'm trying to see if we have... I'm trying to think of Crete names that I know, honestly. Oh, Tess? Oh, I would rock Tess's shit.
I can think of Juan. I can think of Tess. Zenith's in there.
This would be the one case where the cameraman does not live to see the end of the video. I would end
Damn.
Cabbage is Crete, I think.
Cabbage is
No,
Crete.
wait, or is Cabbage Sparta? I think Cabbage has special roles.
I think
I think
Cabbage is
Cabbage has
Cabbage.
special roles.
Cabbage is the head of lettuce.
I'm trying to find name. I'm scrolling
Right.
as well. I'm trying to find names we know. Cabbage is not Crete. Yeah. As soon as I said it, I was like, no, he's not. Dracul
We might
is
need to come
Crete.
back to this
Dracul
one
could beat
once-
my ass. He's a vampire. I can't beat a vampire to fight.
That would be difficult. You need a steak.
Like medium
So
rare.
Allergic to garlic, not
Maybe-
steak.
Maybe
Juan
we
falls
come
into
back
my
to this one. I
category
think
of
we-
I'm not rolling around in the mud because I'm not giving that satisfaction. Like you win, I tap out.
I feel like
Noxus
one
would
person
fucking
I'll
kill
type-
us because Noxus would be too drunk.
this is not Crete. I will say the one player that I would never want to step up to is Ian Eyes. That guy's game is crazy. I don't know if y'all see his Twitter. Like, he is yoked. He's looking better than Beach Bod Hercules sometimes. So like that's just a shout out to Ian Eyes. Like, respect. What's your PR, bro? Give me your secrets. We're gonna do some research on this one though. I'm actually curious what other creep players I could beat up. So we'll have to take a look.
So, so we're gonna shelve the creep player fight, and we'll come back to it so D-Lo can actually swear up at people. My answer for me personally is like I said, I'm not giving opportunities out. That's a subscription tier that Twitch doesn't have yet. I'd absolutely.
You and Fish are both ducking questions.
Glacier
What's up
from
with this?
AGL says I'd absolutely take Majin to the fucking cleaners, zero hesitation.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
That's
Tess
funny.
saying Owen Majin is creepy. Oh yes, he's learning. Thank you, Tess, for learning Glacier as well.
I think Owen is Sparta. I think Owen might be in Sparta because there's special roles.
Copy that. Thank you, Tess. Tess, they're trying to keep the fight alive. We got one more here. We'll end it on a good one.
Okay.
A silly one. Let's see. We got here. Dear Agni, I will give you 3 gods, and you have to choose who you're stuck in an elevator with, who you'd make a dozen cookies for, or who you'd blast in the face with a dodgeball. Your 3 gods are the Morrigan, Thanatos, and Amaterasu.
Okay. So this is eerily similar. All right, I'm going to take you guys on a history lesson before we answer this one. So, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I was casting SDL. I was on cast number 14 or 13 of what ended up being 15 casts in 2 days with like 6 hours of sleep. And one of the last games I cast was between 2 Immortal Division teams, which is essentially Sparta for SDL at the time. Sanctified and Wild Inferno. Shout out to both of those teams. Those players, I'm sure, remember this cast because it was probably one of my worst casts I've ever been a part of. I lost my fucking mind. At one point, I started making helicopter noises. I just screamed into the abyss a few times, and then around 40 minutes into the game, I said to my co-caster, shout out to Jeering Lamb, I said, who would you kiss, marry, and take on a date? I think is what I said. There could have been some variation. And I
think I remember this.
I named Soul, Ravin, and Ganesh. And I went very in-depth on dating Ganesh because I think Ganesh would just be so fucking pleasant. You're not paying for anything. There's back rubs. It's a nice restaurant. Doors are open for you. Yeah, I went up.
Expanded assist range if you kill someone.
Like a helicopter.
If you kill someone, you get an expanded assist range too.
Do I sound like a helicopter? That's what I did. So, that's if you knew the context of this. Thanks for getting me a chance to say that history DLC. Out.
That's fire.
So this question, I give you 3 gods. Stuck in an elevator with, dozen cookies for, I'd blast in the face with the dodgeball. So I'm stuck in an elevator with the Morgan. And there's not a thing you can do to change my mind on that one. Okay. I would let Amaterasu fucking destroy me. If it has to be a dodgeball, sure. And Thanatos...
No, dude, you blast him.
Anthony,
you hit someone with the dodgeball.
I throw it softly. She throws it back. Anyway.
Oh my god, okay, carry on.
Dozen cookies for Thanatos just to make him happy. He needs it, you know? Thanatos.
That's a good one.
Thanadozen.
Fisher, what you got?
Okay, I'd be stuck in an elevator with Thanatos. I feel like he would just face a wall and not talk, and that's the kind of energy I'm for in an elevator. I bake a dozen cookies for Amaterasu because she just seems really nice. I would help Morgan with the dodgeball.
I'm like, step on me, Morgan, and Fisher's like, oh, we could have.
I'm trying to keep the dog. My brand is wholesome. I'm keeping it wholesome.
This is a tough one. What kind of cookies would you guys make for your respective gods?
I'm chocolate chip cookies or bust. I'm not very good at baking.
The chocolate cookies with the white chocolate chips.
Interesting. Okay, that's fair. I am going to, let's see. Well, I gotta differentiate a little bit. I don't fuck with Thanatos like that, so I'm not baking him cookies. But at the same time, if I'm trapped with an elevator and peanut butter goes brazy, Cat says it's true. Peanut butter cookies are good. In my opinion, you don't really eat those in bulk though. So
I mean, honestly, the elevator question is the most telling.
The elevator, I don't want to be stuck in a Thanatos elevator because that's a very limited range for him to hit me with Scythe, and I don't have trust in most Thanatos to be able to hit their Scythe, but in a confined space like that, I'm a lot more vulnerable.
Beach Babe Morgan?
Anthony, pass. Stop. Put the mic away, buddy. Victoria's watching.
If it's an elevator on the beach.
There it is. Amaterasu. I think I'll hang with Amaterasu in an elevator. I feel like we'd have interesting conversations,
That's a good
honestly.
choice.
I feel like
Amaterasu's the
she
nicest.
She's cool, and she she's got a radiant personality. I think she'd be a very bubbly person to talk to. Honestly, she just strikes me as someone who knows how to relax, especially in the laning phase. If that's where we're going, we take it slow that way. Just just hang this elevator, chill, talk it out. I think that's good.
Do you think
Thanatos...
Morgan's Raven would watch?
What is going on with you tonight,
bro? Anthony's only saying Morgan because she could change into soul.
And thanks for the podcast, everybody.
It's been a good one.
clones!
Bro, you've
Dog.
got to stop. You've got to stop. You've got to stop. You've got to. Thank you.
Walk away. Okay, go
Walk
on.
away. Come back when you're feeling a bit better, all right, buddy?
For anyone listening,
I'm
Anthony
sorry,
just
everyone.
left the room.
Please forgive us, guys. Anthony's been sick. Anthony... Victoria says we might be breaking up. This is rough. Live breakup on episode 2? Oh my god, better drama than Love Island reunion.
Physically set up to stand.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. Dozen cookies. Dozen cookies.
Dozen
Got
cookies.
Morgan and
Dozen
Thanatos.
cookies. I feel like Morgan needs some cookies after the
Being stuck in an
harassment
elevator with Anthony. Yeah.
I feel like Morgan needs those cookies because she's gonna see this go live and she's gonna be all sorts of weird out. So I'll make
So you're hitting Thanatos with the dodgeball?
six cookies for Morgan, 6 cookies for the clone if it makes her happy. Anthony.
Save one for the Raven.
Save one for the Raven too. I don't know if they can eat chocolate, but I guess I'll go with Snickerdoodle. Maybe.
That's dogs, not birds, man.
Yeah, that's a good point. It might be the same. Who knows? I'll blast Thanatos in the face with dodgeball because if I take off enough of his health, he can't use abilities to actually do anything about it.
So that's actually pretty funny. We all chose a different god for one of the options.
We're just
that's why you can see. Yeah, we're that in sync. This is why we're great co-hosts.
Also, look at that. We united on the
completely
pancakes,
different.
and we had a split of difference of opinion. And at the end of the day, we're all still friends, except maybe not with Anthony because he has got some demons to figure out. Anthony, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Excited for Smite 2. September 14th, Smite 2 esports starts. $300,000 prize pool, by the way.
Dear Agni, also going to be available in the future. If you guys liked what you saw just here, please make sure to check the Twitter we have on both me and Anthony's page. I believe we both linked that Dropbox.
And
We
I
are
will
always
put one up
accepting more
later.
responses. And Fisher will put one up later. Submit your requests. It could be silly. It could be serious. We've addressed them both, and we are happy to take it at face value. No matter what you want to talk about, just try to keep it not too personal, of course. We are going to be putting these on stream potentially, so we have discretion with that. But thanks, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. I know we certainly did with that. Back to you, Anthony.
Ooh, that was perfectly timed. It's like we've done this a time or two, D'Lo. That was. I like how you.
No
were
way
like,
you guys practice that transition.
No, we didn't. But I was like,
Okay.
D'Lo was like, this segment, it could probably kill like 30 minutes to 45 minutes. It was much more than that. So, perfect segment. D'Lo was very much correct with the vibes on that one. Great call. I am a degenerate.
Yes.
We've assessed that. I won't comment further. My advisory team has suggested not the best for my public image to.
Hindu man is in your DMs right now saying, "Dude, what are you doing?"
Imagine. Wait, what creep players was everyone fighting? I believe I said I didn't want to fight any because I didn't want to give any the chance to tussle in the mud with me. I said you, Noxus, would be too dangerous because you'd be too drunk. You're not pulling punches. And that's kind of where we were at, and we're going to revisit that at a later date because D'Lo wants to go through the Crete division and figure out who he can piece up, and then D'Lo is going to take
Tess.
D'Lo's going to take the heavy approach. Yeah, D'Lo can take Tess.
I was going to say, I don't think I'd ever be worried about a Smite player.
I'd be
beating
drunk and
someone
I'm
in a fight,
autistic, so crazy comms from you, Noxus.
Did you see DM Brandon? I don't know, Kingfisher. That stance looked pretty good. That guy's clearly got years worth of Smite training. Yeah. You see that? That's prime positioning. Are you kidding me? Dude looks like the next Creed.
Oh my goodness. Well, if you he had that Mercury stance. He really did. He played too much.
Tess.
If you liked what you saw, if you liked hanging out late at Smite, make sure you check it out. It's over this way. On Spotify, Late at Smite. It's on there if you want the audio version in your car, a little bit more edited and cut down. And on my YouTube, Anthony Malum, you'll find the VODs. They'll always be there, as well as you'll find shorts and clips. If you want to go there and dislike videos of D'Lo drafting weekend first overall for his team in an SPL all-time draft, because YouTube did not like D'Lo for that. So make sure you check those out.
They're going to be disliking us for the pancakes take now. Now it's going to be that's next.
Hey, to be fair, we would all get hated for the pancakes. We're with you this time.
Yeah, we got plenty of clips to put from this one. Make sure you guys check out at On the D'Lo and at Kingfisher Live, underscores in between On and D'Lo. So, yeah, it was a fun one. Dear Agni, submit those. You'll see those in my Discord. And like D'Lo said, on our Twitters at underscore, or on underscore the underscore D'Lo. Got it.
D'Lo.
At Kingfisher Live, at Anthony Malum. You'll see those submission forms for Dear Agni. Smite launches on Tuesday. You'll see a big ramp up in podcasts when Smite 2 esports is happening. That's where I'll be talking about a lot of Smite 2 esports myself and giving my opinions outside of the casts. Sign up for the Smite 2 alpha, or not alpha weekend, but closed alpha tournament coming up here soon. Bring teams to that. See what you might want to do for the Founders Series. But that's going to do it for us tonight on Late at Smite. Thank you all for hanging out. I hope you all have a safe night, and we'll see you next time for episode 3 of Late at Smite. Goodbye.
Appreciate you guys. Bye.